This stream contains fast-flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy and other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised.
We're finally here, baby. The end of the line. Today, the Americas Trophy is up for grabs, and we're ending the season in style. And we are live in Los Angeles, New York, Mexico City, and Sao Paulo también. It's going to be incredible. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to VCT Americas Season Finals Pre-Show. Of course, I'm Golden Boy. You got Mimi. You have Ender. We're going to break it all down. Man, what a season it has been. It's going to be a fun day, too. We're like all over the place.
Yeah, I mean, it's been crazy. We had the running tally from 2 stages of play thus far. We have some really great teams debuting in their final. G2 trying to win their first trophy, make up for last stage, and Lev in their first ever final as a squad.
Yeah, the match is going to be absolutely awesome. Also, we've just got tons of people hanging out in the block party right now.
Wingman.
It is popping. There's a giant wingman just going around, having the time of his life, boba everything. It was literally just like a gamer's paradise out there.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. A bunch of VALORANT console setups as well is going to be really cool. That's my big thing. I'm excited for that. But yesterday, though, we had a best of five, lower bracket final between our 2 LATAM squads, Leviatán and Cruvisa and Mimi. I mean, what a game this was.
I thought that this was going to be history repeating itself. Lev goes to a lower final after looking solid and then start to make mistakes, start slipping. It's what happened last stage where they lost in that lower final in that sloppy game to G2. But in this one, they buttoned down. They came back in 5 maps to actually close out and win it.
What they ended up giving us was one of the most exciting series I've watched, right? With all of Cruz late half comebacks, right? Always pushing Leviatán. It was ridiculous. And then finishing it off in absolute style here. That was honestly one of the best matches to watch all year in terms of closeness and excitement.
Yeah, it was really exciting. I think Lev really had to lean on a lot of those individuals to step up, but it was an incredible match from guys like Aspas, like Mazzino, proving just the quality that this Lev team has through and through.
Yeah, a team that was forged to win championships. We'll talk more about your finalists in a moment here, but that means we are down to our last 2 squads. And today, we've got a BO5 battle for the trophy and the #1 seed for Americas at Champions Seoul. Of course, it's going to be G2 Esports, enjoying a little bit of a break, a day break, prepping for this one. And then, of course, it's their opponents who we saw yesterday, Leviatán.
And that break is so huge for them. We saw the last time these 2 teams played. I think so much of that win for G2 was reliant on the incredible prep and reads they had on Leviatán. And they're going to have time to make another game plan like that. And Lev's also coming off a crazy long day yesterday.
Yeah, the break is big, but also the double map bans, too.
Yeah.
G2 get to decide the map pool here today, which is huge for them, even considering they took down Lev on their best map of Icebox last time they faced against
good point on that one. We'll see how that plays out, of course. But after we crown our season finals winner, don't jump ship. Don't turn that channel. Wait, are there channels? I don't think they're channels anymore. I'm showing. Well, yeah, I guess so. It does technically count. Maybe don't change that dial. Anyway, of course, we'll have the Champions Seoul draw show immediately after the post-match interview. So if you want to see who your favorite team is going to be going up against in Seoul, Korea, you might want to stick around and find out.
And that seeding is huge, right?
It's gonna be crazy.
It can really depend on who you're playing. There's a lot of great teams going. You look across the world, you have Fnatic back in form, a Gen G who's won another trophy in Pacific. You really want to get a good draw there. So it's super important for all these Americas teams and everyone worldwide.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's going to be so exciting. But a reminder, all throughout today's show, make sure you guys are using the hashtag VCT Americas at VCT so we can feature your amazing posts and tweets on the broadcast. We literally run your posts in the corner of the screen, so make sure you guys are going crazy, all right? Have fun with it. Let us know who you think's going to win. Sound off on the internet, right? What could possibly go wrong? Now, we've had an incredible sophomore year here at VCT Americas, but it's time to go ahead and take a look back at some of our favorite moments. Top 5. Let's do this, because there have been some fun moments here. So coming in at number 5, it's going to be the Shanks walkout, which I love this.
And now, introducing our 2023
There's 2 of them here for
World
this.
Champions of the World, EG.
Love it. I heard he went way more all out during rehearsal.
Yeah, I think
was
Vansili scared
off the
him.
wall. Yeah. I mean, it was a battle between the 2 who could go more hype, and Shanks did a good job.
He did all right. Kind of got mowed by Vansili.
I was going to say, Vansili just came up after the fact and just yelled a guttural yell to bring out the next
Yeah,
team.
but he doesn't have a sign of himself. Come
That's
on.
true. He doesn't have a sign for himself, so obviously he's a fraud. Now, of course, coming in at number 4, it's, the Sen baby. Yes, okay.
It's so crazy to me that this
so cute.
esport is at a point where like parents are like bringing their kids and like making them a part of it, which is so cool. I've seen quite a few people throughout this tournament who will like come up to me and like say hi. They have their kids with them. It's honestly really cool, like how many different types of people come out for these shows.
And crazy that Sentinel signed a baby to play for the organization.
I didn't know they were allowed to.
Youngest
do that.
player.
I believe going to be debuting at Champions.
He's only like a little bit younger than second.
Yeah, it's close enough.
All right, let's take a look at number 3. This one took place in our audience. And
Oh, no.
Oh, no.
No,
This one, Liz was playing matchmaker.
Ben, here. She's not here. Talk to me. What is it?
It's like a first date hangout.
Hey, but you know what? They came back. I think they came back together, so that's lovely. Look
and
at
that
us.
was my favorite moment because we were casting that match and Chrissy was just slowly falling down from
I was
the desk.
curling back. I was like, no, just send me back. I don't want to be here anymore.
Dying of cringe, love to see it. And coming in at number 2, this one was actually a personal favorite of mine. A mid-match push-up contest, and these guys were going hard in the paint. And then I also look like I'm in the 8 Mile music video there, just like constantly going up and down. But yeah, and then I decide to just get in there and go in for myself, and then I just show cake to everyone in the back of the crowd. I'm so sorry to y'all. Then my guy did a handstand. Yeah, at least they got that angle.
And then it turns into a breakdance. Like, what is going on? This might be the hypest moment of all time.
By the way,
I
while
couldn't
all
join
this
them
was
there.
happening, the players are just in the wings.
Yeah.
Like their coach is talking to them, but it's a big second half, guys. Just peeking around them. Like, what the hell is going on?
I'm pretty sure I looked at Zelsa. Zelsa was like, what the hell is going on over there? So, yeah, good moment for sure. And our number 1 moment, it's Aspas breaking the kill record.
Sentinels fans, look away.
But man,
okay.
This
It was.
Aspas continuing to show why he is pound for pound one of, if not the greatest players in the world, breaking the kill record.
He's just the GOAT. The guy is ridiculous. He has
so
had
good.
an amazing year this year. He had a great year last year. He had a great year in 2022. He's just incredible.
It goes on a long time. I mean, honestly, 47 kills in a single game.
A lot of nuts.
Just absolutely insane. I mean, Mimi, you'd be lucky to get that many kills in an entire active rank.
Dude. Catch it straight.
I had an 80% win rate this act thus far.
How many games did you play?
And how many kills did you get, most
I mean,
importantly?
like 14, but I've been in LA for the rest. I don't have a computer.
Oh, she was working.
Play on the console. We've got tons of them here.
Come on.
Your rank doesn't transfer. You don't know
Join me. Join me
your
on
skins
console.
do.
All right. Well, look, guys. Today we're holding it down here at the studio, as we always do, and we've got a couple people in New York, Mexico City, and Sao Paulo. So let's actually go ahead and send it over to Vansili and Riv, who are over at our block party right here in Los Angeles.
What's going on, everybody? Rivington and the silliest events here at the VCT season finals for Americas. Grand finals is about to happen. You can hear it's crazy behind us right now. There's activations going on all day with the teams, with different sponsors. What are you looking to do?
I mean, we also got a nice little Viper going over there. There's meet and greets with a lot of the teams with the 10s, with the booths that we have. EG's already here signing autographs and taking pictures. I'm actually looking forward to what we have behind the camera here. The stage is set. It's going to be full, and it's going to be awesome. It's going to get super loud.
It is going to get loud. There's also a Boba truck. There's tons of things to do here. We got the console version of VALORANT going on, so come get your hands on a controller. Right now, though, we're going to send it over to New York because I think we got Tarek standing by.
Tarek!
Guys, we are live here in New York City. What's up, guys? How are we doing? We're here at Pier 17. We got the console set up, so we got food stations, tat stations. The fans are excited to see a thrilling match between G2 and Lev. I think that it's going to be insane. I'm more than excited. Let's throw it back to Mexico.
Hi everyone, I am Vox with my partner Cantor. I am here in Mexico for a party for celebrate the grand finals.
And VALORANT on console, but now let's check what's going on with Brazil. Hey, what's up everybody? It's Tonello at the Brazil Block Party here to celebrate the grand finals of the VCT Americas and also VALORANT on console. And everybody here is very hyped because they also get the chance to take pictures in amazing places here, take pictures with their favorite influencers too. So everybody here is really happy and of course supporting Esports and Leviatán, or at least most of us. Back to you guys.
We're all over the place, and VCT is growing every single year. Before I do that, though, to the homies out in New York, 'cause, you know, I miss y'all so much, 'cause I'm from there, you know, from the boogie down. You already know what's good.
What's Los Angeles shirts you were wearing, though?
I just do what wardrobe tells me to do. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I just show up, and then they put me in this great clothing.
You do still have your New York learners.
I actually was. Yeah, I was going to wear a sweater that said Bronx on it, but I feel like that might be a little too, like, obvious. All right, well, look, guys, here's the deal, right? Our community has been getting bigger and bigger. VCT has been growing, and thanks to the upcoming release of VALORANT console, it's going to get even bigger. Why don't you go ahead and check out this new trailer?
Target down.
Hello, everyone. My name is Golden Boy, and I am a console VALORANT enjoyer. Ask me anything.
Is the game fun?
Yes, very fun. Very fun. I'm not trying to blow smoke up anyone's booty. Real talk, I've been playing FPS on console since I was like 15, 16. So like for me, I've kind of grown tired of like the bog standard of what we come to expect on console. I would actually say that VALORANT console actually does do some different things that I quite enjoy. Focus mode's really fun to use, but also...
Can you explain what that is?
Yeah, so basically, you know how in VALORANT you walk around, you can ADS, and you can also, you know, hip, fire, aim, right?
Sure.
But on console, because of, you know, the control stick and using your thumb to aim and aim assist and a bunch of other different things, kind of more challenging to do that at the accuracy that you see people do on PC. So, to compensate for that, when you click left trigger, you actually go into like a vignette mode that creates a more fine-tuned aiming that you can do on top of your hip-fire aiming, and then when you click with the right stick, you can go ADS with it as well.
So it's like temporarily limiting your how quick the controller actually
and it auto makes you walk as well, which is pretty good. So a lot of people use it for
like
walking, creeping corners and stuff like that.
Actually lets you like contact them. That's
pretty much,
cool.
yeah. It's fun. It's super fun. Like I love, you know, like FPS games on console that, you know, go off of the beaten path, and this game 100% does that. It's unique as hell, and I really enjoy it.
Now, GB, you play both console and PC. Which one are you better at?
I'm much better at console.
Okay.
But you gotta understand, I used to be a competitive player on controller, so it's like it comes very natural for me. And that was actually the thing that blew my mind away, is that it was very natural for me to pick it up. So it was quite fun.
That's cool. And all the skins in XP, your account
everything transfers over.
But for the PC players, no crossplay. You don't have to worry about playing against anyone with aim
You don't have to play against Golden Boy, because he would.
That would be scary.
Guys, I'm just gonna be real with y'all. It would have been great for you. It would have been great for me. But yeah, seriously, VALORANT console is incredible. Check it out. I wholly endorse it. I think it's a really fun game, and I hope people enjoy it. But
check it out.
Yeah, in any case, so let's go ahead and continue the block party, baby, because we got Vansili and Riv staying outside. You got Evil Genius's Nature standing by and enjoying the show.
We're back at the block party, joined by EG's Nature. Thank you so much for taking some time with us. Yes. I'm just going to say, how you doing? How you feeling the vibes around here?
It's great so far. I mean, it's a little warm.
Yeah.
Other than that, it's a vibe. We got the gecko suit chilling and everything. So.
Yeah, this is actually the first time that we had the block party outside here. This is going to be a filled space. All the tickets have been sold within like 10 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. So how's it been looking for the stage and everything too? Are you excited to watch this from your booth?
Oh, of course. I'm excited to watch Lev own them. 100%. It's going to happen.
You have to tell me why. Why is that?
Yeah.
Because Aspect's about to have 100 kills. This be a 100%. 100%.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you just have like a really good vibe with like all the people here, and then all the teams here as well is kind of nice because, you know, we're always ops in the season, but now you kind of just chill, get to say hi to everybody, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah. All right, so I want to ask you some questions about the season. I mean, you come into a team that just had won the Champions, and they come home with a trophy. Is there any kind of like pressure to perform all year and be like, okay, now I feel like I got to be up to that level?
I think people think there's a lot of pressure, but like going into it, I mean, we knew we had like 3 rookies. Coach was really working well with us and stuff like that, so there was no pressure because we felt confident with like Coach's experience, Jaw's experience to just go in and do the best we can. So
I want to ask you about the coach's perspective, because Potter, of course, is the head coach going into EG. We just had a conversation when you told us where you haven't really IGL'd in like the past 2 years, because when you were playing in the Challenger stage with TSM, it was actually Hazed and also GMD calling. Then 100 Thieves calls you up to trial for Red Bull Homegrounds, and then here you are IGLing for EG. So how has Potter been to make sure that you're comfortable in this role, leading a new team, and then also playing on the VCT stage?
So, Potter's role with me, she did like so much work. Okay. I actually don't think she sleeps half the time. Wow. She literally does like VALORANT for 16 hours and then goes to bed, and that's every day for her. Yeah. So she brought almost like 90% of everything for me. Basically how she was working as a coach, and it was new to me because when I was calling before years ago, I had to bring a lot of the stuff. She's just like, I need you to focus on, I'm gonna bring this stuff, I'm gonna explain it to you, and that's what we're gonna work on. Okay. So that's like her style, and that's like what I worked with, and then that's where I got like the successes when I really understood her level of thinking into some of the strats, stuff like that.
Yeah. So how much is it of a plug and play from what Christine brought to the team, and how much input do you have to make sure that you're comfortable in your calling as well?
Well, especially like I was a little hesitant to bring early on because there was just so much. I was like not information flooded, but I was learning so much with it. But then like especially towards the middle, I was able to bring like I said, oh, we have this strat and it's run this way, but I want to like alter it to where we could do like 2 things in my perspective. So I was able to do that, and that's when we could kind of layer more and stuff like that. And then in terms of the mid-rounding, I was always allowed to cook in that situation all the time. It was always like the start of the rounds and like how she wanted to end, like post plants, retake, stuff like that, as that's where she really, really shined. And then she would say like, this is good mid-rounding or something like that. She would always DM me these things while we were playing.
Nice. And what is it about Potter's style that kind of feels like she can just take like a blanket and put it over somebody and like everything works? She finds out what they need, how to adapt to that person, new player. Like how does that always seem to work?
I think it's the way she like reads the game. A lot of the times, every single time we make a mistake, she brings it up and she says, this is how we can work on this. It's very like, we use the word hindsight a lot because that's what we think in terms of it. Like a lot of the time, like we could be thinking we did it perfect, but there's always this small portion, and she focuses on those small portions, which can be extremely frustrating in practice, but extremely satisfying when, because many times in my, like I would know, like the Killjoy on Icebox, I walk up a solo. Everyone thinks it's psychotic. Literally. But I've drilled it so many times, and she's always said like, oh, you need to do this and then check that. It works on stage all the time. You know, like I get owned in scrims doing that. But then I got my very first kill loud on Icebox.
Yeah.
I killed him on top 14. I was like, I'm going to run this A site. That's what I'm going to do. Because I was so ready, because I've done it 1,000 times. And it's failed most of the time. But it's because they're not ready for it in the match.
Well, let's talk about hindsight, because you just mentioned it, the hindsight of what it was like with Potter as a coach. What's the hindsight been for you guys as a team for your inaugural season as this new roster under the EG banner, trying to defend the championship trophy? Unfortunately, and it failed. But what's your take back on it now that you look back on the season?
Thinking about the year, I think that we struggled like at the very beginning, and it really bit us like throughout the whole season, right? With how it works and not making the first playoffs. We lost a lot of experience not going to Madrid with that loss in the playoffs, and then not making playoffs in the first stage because of our first 3 games. So if we take that out, I think our progression throughout the entire year was really, really solid. We got much better as a team because we looked pretty trash at the very beginning. I'm not going to lie.
You still won a game though, right?
So that was... The first 3 games of the season were really rough by us. We weren't playing very well, and then we kind of found ourselves and had a lot of confidence. We won against the big dogs, right?
Yeah.
So that's success in itself, that we were able to overcome that and win against the top 3, top 4 teams.
For sure.
That's something to look back on.
Yeah, well, Nature, we thank you so much for your time, man. And I'll go hang out with you at the booth, and good luck for your career next year.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me.
Thanks, brother.
All right. Well, I mean, overall, though, a lot of insight that we got from Nature there. Ender.
Yeah, I mean, one of the cool almost endorsements for Potter, hearing how, the hindsight calls, like focusing on so many different micro details. And, I'm going to log that away for personal use in the future here.
Of course. And I think also, too, Nature, obviously, seeing how the year had went, if they had been a little bit tighter at the beginning of the year, they definitely would have been a little bit more in control of their own fate.
For sure. And I think that this year, I think a lot of people saw EG's success last year and kind of had this expectation, another miracle can happen. But it's really hard to get to that place again. They got really close, though, almost getting their slot in playoffs. And I think even if not all of these players stay with EG next year, they've proven that this system works to develop talent, and that's really important for the longevity of an organization.
Without a doubt, EG, one of the teams, perhaps my team, that I'm like #1, so excited to see what they do going into next year.
It's going to be interesting.
It is going to be very, very fascinating. But let's go ahead, though, and send it back over to my neck of the woods. We got Tarek standing by. He's apparently handing out some food to fans.
Awesome.
So we're live here at the New York City block party, and we're checking out the food station here, where I'm actually going to be able to give out some food to the fans. We have a fan favorite here called the Tarek, which is chicken over rice. And our second option on the menu is Radianite over rice, which is falafel over rice. So let's get into it. What would you guys like?
Can I get the chicken and rice?
What is it called, though?
Oh, the Tarek.
Okay, I got you. Okay, so here's your plate. I have a mic here, so it's a little tricky. We got your white sauce, your utensils. You can get to pick hot sauce, or I think that was green chili pepper. Green chili, something like that. So you can have both of them because I like you. And that's for you. What's your name?
Eric.
Is it your first gaming event?
Yes, it is.
Sweet. Thank you for coming out, man. Enjoy. Thank you. Nice to meet you. And we're on to the next. What do you guys like?
Can I have the Radianite over rice?
The Radianite over rice? I got you. Not a fan of the Tarek. It's okay. Everyone is, I'm kidding. Your Radianite over rice, your white sauce, your utensils. It's my first time actually working out of a food station here, so I'm sorry for my lack of speed. But what's your name?
Courtney.
Do you play Valorant?
I do, but
not anymore.
Yeah, my fiance is a big fan of you.
Your fiance's a big fan? I see. So you're kind of tagging along. So he's the gamer in the house. I got you. It's great to meet you guys.
Great to meet you.
Sweet. And yeah, that's the food station here. So the fans I think it's actually free food, so it's actually kind of sick. So I hope you guys enjoy. And next time we're gonna have even more better things. So back to you in the studio.
All I'm going to say is you out there handing out some halal food to the homies. I mean, I want some chicken over rice.
Dude, he doesn't even know your name.
He definitely doesn't. He does. I mean, listen, that being said, though, that all looks delicious, and I want it in my stomach. Also, I'm hungry, so that's also my problem.
Go outside. We've got food trucks.
I'm working, Ender.
Okay,
all right, well, here's the deal. The Americas region is stacked with talent, and right now, we're going to recognize the best of the best. So we figured we'd create the Americas Super Team.
Okay. Okay.
I love it. And here's the thing. This is my team, okay?
This is your team?
Do this together. This is my team, and I'm
You're
always
the
right.
arbiter of superness?
Yeah. Yes,
All right.
exactly. And my pitch is basically, if I was going to build a team to win champions this year, and steal, poaching is legal, this is my team. I am starting with Valen. Okay. This guy, the absolute GOAT. He is so, if you just look at performance in the Smokes role, this guy is top of the line. This guy is consistently top fragging on G2, even over the likes of Leaf, which is absolutely insane. But not to mention, he is just the best IGL we have in Americas right now, hands down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have an argument with that. I think the other players you can maybe put in conversation, a John QT, maybe a King, but I feel like just the calling he's been putting up on top of the individual performance makes him a pretty clear choice here. And also what he's done for talent development and bringing up new players. I think he's a good person to build around.
Yeah, from Ascension to now. My second one, Usboss. Speaking of talent, and try to argue with that. I don't know.
Yeah, no.
There's no duelist that comes close.
Second?
Nope.
Okay.
47.
Look, honestly, you make a great case here, and the case is Ospas. That's all you have to say.
Yeah.
You don't really have to say much else because the guy is unreal.
Maybe something more contentious. I'm very happy thus far. This is good. Very super.
Give us some meat on the bone. Give us some meat on the bone.
Next up, I'm going to double up on G2, and I'm going with Leaf. For Sentinel, I think that he has been the player that is performing consistently at the top level throughout the year. I just think that, literally, he has been kind of the glue next to Valen that has consistently been performing for G2. Gives them very strong, solo sight holders, too, with that Leaf guy.
Devil's advocate, Tex. Leviatán player. He's had a great year. Some of the best performances he's had. But I think that what Leaf brings behind the scenes, with being kind of a big nerd about the game, adding ideas, being a really vocal player, helping with the mental, too, I think good choice.
Yeah, no, his proactivity, he's great. He's always amazing on the lurk. He's always a reliable set of hands for them. So I can't argue.
The great thing about Leaf, too, is that he plays so many different roles that he can bring some flexibility.
But did you step outside of the zone? Did you step outside of G2 and Lev here?
Yes, I did, of course. We're going Heat for my initiator. This guy reinvigorated this crew roster since he stepped in to the shoes of MTA back in Stage 1. Right, this team went on an insane run. And I think, when I'm looking at the other initiators in the league, some very talented ones, but in terms of a guy that turned an entire team around, no one did it like he.
He seemed like the catalyst for Crew to really have the comeback that they found this season. My other suggestions, EU I think has been incredible. In my opinion, I think he's the best Fade player in the league. Maybe Heat's a better shooter sometimes, but I think EU adds a ton to a roster. That would maybe be my pick.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, can't really. I like the pick of Heat also just because it steps outside of the box of G2 and Lev, but also he really did bring so much to this team this year. And even in the match that the one that they won against C9, I mean, that pop-off was crazy.
Sure.
He absolutely, he kind of teetered off toward the end, but man, absolute great year from him. Yeah.
I almost went Kalenzine, to be honest.
That's honestly not
honestly, wouldn't have been a bad one either.
You got something for the duelist turned initiator players that are crazy.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
I think people will reflect too much on Loud going out in the groups, but Kawa was
this guy's top fragging every game, can play all the different initiators,
but not on the super team.
He's literally never been bad.
Yeah. not gonna make it today, but now is where we get contentious because. With how Valen likes to call his games, he loves to lean into double smokes comps. I think that my roster that I'm building to win champions, they're playing a lot of double smokes with Leaf on Ascenti, perhaps, or even a Sky. I could see him flexing over to. My last player is Bang. This guy has been lights out all year. The best defensive player in VCT, in my opinion. I think that the way he plays off angles, especially, he was the guy that made 100 Thieves bind absolutely untouchable, how he worked different angles around the B site. I think he is locking in Viper the majority of games for this team, and they are frying on the defense side.
I mean, the logic is sound. I like what you did here. You seem to be.
I'm trying to think who I would pick instead. The player that comes to mind is TenZ if we get a bit of a flex roll off.
That's fair.
But I do agree with you with what Bang's been able to achieve. Seems well thought.
In terms of Viper players, I think Bang is the guy. And then on maps where you want to run, a second smoke, and Leaf again can play those initiators.
I think Leaf opens you up so much to kind of put whoever you want in those last two roles, because he could play duelist on that. He can play initiator. He can play patrol. He can do anything.
That's a good team.
Am I winning champions with this team?
Honestly,
you might be.
Let us know if Ender's winning champions with this team. All right, make sure you sign off on social media. VCT Americas VCT. Is Ender right? This is a solid squad, though. I quite like it. I quite like it. All right.
Pick Potter.
I would also pick Potter, but I'll be your assistant coach. And then next year, I can coach 100 Thieves.
Oh, that's so
look at
true.
that.
Oh,
Okay. I like that. You guys are out here making deals. Do your job. All right, well, here we go, guys. We're going to take a quick break, and then we've got more from the block parties and a breakdown of our season finals between G2 and Leviatán. We'll see you, as always, on the other side.
Nosfer no consiguen nada a raíz de esto. 1 por 1 por ahora. Nosfer ha caído fuera. Atpat, ese no agresivo de Chan. No se lo esperaba para nada. Y es otro más. Sola multi-kill. Si está el defuser por parte de Furia.
Oh, huge mistakes here for G2, and they're burning the clock down now. And they're starting to hold the torch to the feet of Crew.
We're live here with Zelina at the New York City block party. How are you doing, Zelina? Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. I'm having a really good time here, and I'm also learning a lot. So it's, you know.
It's your first gaming event, right?
Not my first gaming event, but it's my first with VALORANT. So yeah, it's definitely exciting to get into something new.
Absolutely. For the people that don't know, can you tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
So I am a WWE superstar. I am wrestling every single week on Mondays on the USA Network, and I'm a huge anime and gaming nerd, and yeah, so and I'm from Queens, New York, so.
She's a native, so we like her. You actually told me you have an anime tattoo as well. So.
All anime everywhere. My legs are both anime. It's like Demon Slayer, Naruto, everything, so yeah. Inuyasha, I'm obsessed.
Nice, we love that. What do you think of the vibes here? Is this like a pretty unique experience for you to see in terms of like what we have going on with the watch party and all the fans coming out?
I think it's really cool. I love the stage. I love how everything is set up. The vibes are really chill, very nice. Yeah. And although it's competitive, it's like a nice, friendly competitive, which I like.
Yeah. Yeah, we haven't even started yet, so things will pick up pace soon here. But I heard you got to try out console. How was your experience on that?
It's fun. It's fun. So for me, I love getting into something new and being able to say, okay, I want to cosplay this person. I want to get really good with this person. So I'm kind of into Viper right now. I played a little bit with her, so I'm like, yeah, I think I'm into Viper right now.
I think you were telling me you like doing cosplays. Would you do a Viper cosplay?
I would. I saw Valkyrie did it, so I'm kind of like, should I stick with Viper? Should we go more Reyna? Might kind of err on the side of Reyna, so we'll see.
If you guys want her to do a Viper cosplay, pog in the chat. We're going to send it back to the desk. Thank you, Zelina.
Thank you.
What? Zelina Vega was there? Oh my God. I just watched her go up against Liv Morgan for the WWE Women's Championship on Monday Night Raw the other day. She's incredible.
Wait, who won, G2 or Lev?
That's
at Monday night.
At Monday Night Raw? Who won, G2 or Lev?
G2 or Lev, yeah.
And I said Liv.
Oh, sorry.
Liv Morgan.
My bad.
Why can't these people watch wrestling with me?
I think she would be a good Reyna.
She would be an excellent Reyna,
Yeah,
actually.
I think like slick back the hair, dye the other side.
She's done a ton of cosplays. She like went through the list, but yeah, her IG is just like a bunch of different cosplays of her. She's awesome. Worked a few events with her in the past. Really great person. So yeah, shout out to Zelina Vega. Happy to see you here as well. All right, well, folks, welcome back as always to our America's season finals, and we're throwing a block party here at the Riot Games Arena, and we're celebrating. Of course, you just saw New York. We had Sao Paulo as well as Mexico City. So for now, let's go ahead and send it back over to Vancilia and Riv. Check out what's going on here in LA.
Back at the block party because we want you to feel like you're right here with us. So let's check out some booths. Let's go to, we talked about the Viper booth before, so let's check it out.
Yeah, so we're actually joined here with Becky Bell. Becky, actually I know you from an aspiring VALORANT caster, but now it seems as though you have hidden talents as an artist. So talk to us about yourself. So how do you figure out like the proportions? Because me, when I have to try to draw stuff, it does not look like this.
So a lot of it is going
going to come down to, I like to print things out. I like to do sketches over the drawing so that I kind of get a feel for the overall proportions of the piece, especially when I am doing a big mural like this. It does come down to, like, you can see my little piece down there where I've gotten, like, the middle point, and then I kind of just work out from a center point. That helps a lot. There are going to always end up being some differences, but I think that's kind of the beauty of going from digital painting to a live painting here.
How long does something like this take?
Exactly.
So they kind of take anywhere between 10 to 16 hours. Normally when I'm doing chalk murals, I do it over the course of 2 days and do 8 hours each day. This one I did quite a bit of prep work beforehand just to get it here. And normally I am doing them on concrete, so I basically had to reinvent concrete, but then this is on a frame, so I'll be able to put it up later. It was a whole process, but I had a ton of fun doing it, and it's probably taken me about, at this point, I'm at like hour 18.
Wow. Okay, so you were here since like 2 a.m.
No. My tiny apartment at home, I like had it up and was taking up my entire living room, but you gotta do what you gotta do.
I'm actually intrigued because you just told us that you had to reinvent concrete. So what does that mean? Did you have to like do any type of extra mixtures going into the painting?
So it's actually wood framing, so it's gonna be 2x4s and then masonite on top of it. I then did wood glue and sand mixture as a way to get this kind of texture that's gonna get the chalk to cling to it. And then that was pretty much what the base of it was, then did chalkboard paint on top of it.
That's wild.
And now we're here.
Super wild, super cool. Becky, thank you so much for your time. Good luck. I can't wait to see the final result. And let's toss it back now to GB.
I just wish I had an iota of talent to be able to do that. That was amazing.
It looked like it was all hand. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, it really is. Valor community constantly impresses. So much talent across the board, all right outside here at the block party. But for now, we know everyone, we've been having fun, you know, yapping about the good things we're doing today, but let's go ahead and get down to some business, shall we? Let's talk about what we are here to watch today. A BO5 matchup, G2, Leviatán. And what's wild is that we have a bunch of rookies up in here. We have a guy who's probably going for his second Americas title. This is just unbelievable that we've gotten up until this point, but these two teams deserve it so much.
And I think the story of the day is the guard core making the run to now be in the finals here. This team stuck together after not making partnership, went through Ascension, and won as a squad. They split up a little bit from there. The core went to G2, Tex took a different opportunity and went off to Leviatán. But now both of these cores will join back together in this grand finals to go from that Ascension trophy to the Americas trophy.
I think it's safe to say that that guard team is the biggest success story in the history of Valorant. Like, to go from there qualifying and now re-meeting against each other in the final is just absolutely ridiculous. To have that growth over the course of the year, to carry it over and go like a full tier leap and all of a sudden be the best, ridiculous.
And G2 didn't start off by doing great this year. They came into the league, they had a bit of a disappointing kickoff. People had really high hopes for this team, but they fell flat there, and then they took a big risk. This was the team that was the brothers that stuck together and did it, and they made the hard decision to drop net from the team, to go a different direction, and kind of place their bets on an unknown player in Icy. But the turnaround after that was incredible.
Their placement after that is just insane, and it took a while, right? At first, there was a lot of concern about Icy coming into the team. The first few performances weren't super hot, but the rest of the team stepped up, and more time together with the team. All of a sudden, you're going off to a Shanghai. Icy is having some big games on the international stage, and this team is looking like a serious contender for it all.
No other team has gone on a run at an international event. DRG qualified, but all of the other Ascension teams have gone to their international league and been solid. No one has had the performance of G2. No one else has made a grand finals. To go from tier 2 to one of the best two teams and maybe the best team in this region is insane.
Yeah, it's incredible, and it goes to show like that Ascension pathway, right? Like, I mean, there are a lot of kids right now that are playing challengers that this could very well be them, you know, in a short amount of time. It's going to take a lot of hard work, but it is doable.
He wasn't even playing challengers. He was a tier 3 player, and now he's here.
And next year, we're going to have another team. Like, we know how much talent there is in the Americas ecosystem coming up. G2 is the proof of that, and the final cherry on top would be lifting that trophy today.
And they're the main proof, but you look at our other teams, and you have players there too. Tex on Leviatán. You have EU, who is in that Ascension finals but lost. finding success with 100 Thieves. The depth of talent in Tier 2, and we're just talking about NA Tier 2, is so deep. And there are players like that in Brazil, in LATAM, that are waiting for their opportunity.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing what we can get next year, but the proof is in the pudding. But though, let's go ahead and reiterate that this is going to be the third time that these teams have met this year. Now, they're 1-1, so this is basically the rubber band match.
Well, 2-1.
Oh, that's right. They're 2-1. I forgot.
Because it was those 2 critical playoff games. G2 has beaten Lev both times when it mattered.
That is right. Yeah. So, I mean, you got a situation here where you have 2 teams that are going into a grand final, big game, and they know each other very well.
Yeah, it's such an interesting matchup, right? Because on one hand, you have Lev that are, going undefeated in stage 2 in the map pool, then fall to G2, have the close match again, but have now a couple of best of 5s under their experience against a G2 that is so clutch when it actually matters, showing up in playoffs during stage 1, showing up in Shanghai too. This team lives for the big moments on the stage.
Yeah, they truly do, and we'll see if they could lift that moment again today. But here's what Tex had to say over on the Leviatán side about facing his former teammates.
It's definitely fun. I mean, I love playing against them. The first time I played them, I wanted to literally dominate them in every way possible. I remember on Breeze, I just ran at them and just destroyed them, and it felt great. Honestly, after that map, I felt so happy inside. But yeah, honestly, it's the hatred has definitely died down a lot. They're still my boys. They always have been. But I definitely still want to take them out. I'm not gonna lie. They're also like their playstyle kind of punishes my playstyle a bit, based on because I'm kind of aggressive. I take my timings, and they're a very like tight and strong team where like they punish you if you make mistakes. So I'm just going to be focused on playing really well fundamentally, and I think I'll play a lot better like that.
Their text talked about G2's style punishing his individual play, but what they also did in the last match was punish Ospas. This guy is a danger to any team playing against him, especially when he has the operator. And I want to highlight some of the absolutely incredible calling from Valen to get them that 2-0 stomp win the last time they beat Lev. We're entering into this one on Icebox. It's round 8. G2's on the attacking side. They've had a good go of things thus far, and their big priority is figure out what Ospas is up to with this off and find the gap in the defense. Lev is starting this round with 3 players over towards A. They have their Harbor here, who's going to send an early cascade down this line to set up Ospas for an early fight here. But G2 are going to send their own early utility here. You see that Killjoy Molly come in combination with the Dizzy, with that cascade of their own as well. That's their standard utility to scale and start to take towards A. But Leviatán give a little tell in this round that sets G2 up to make an amazing call. This Killjoy Molly normally remains unbroken because the only place you can really break this Killjoy Molly from is either when you're playing up top, on this angle or this angle. You can actually go and fight and break that one through. And you're only going to really do that when a player is actually looking to go forward and fight. So that's a tell to make them realize that, hey, they're breaking that molly. It's likely because Ospas is going for a forward fight and trying to get one of those opening kills. So G2 will rotate back and instead put pressure towards B main. What they're going to try and sell here, after realizing that there's a likely stack on A, is that they're going into a basic hit on this B site. We'll speed up for a second and see how they set up for this one. You see that Harbor, that Sova, both setting up in main. And they're going to show the normal utility that makes you think, hey, this is going to be some kind of hit in this direction. A drone's going to start coming through, a cascade's coming through, but that's not actually where they're going to finish this round. Look what's going on in mid right now. This cascade will block off what would be the default turret angle right there, and players are going to walk through this orb to pinch. Because they think that Ospas has a heavy setup on A, they're suspecting that there's only 1 or 2 players anchoring on B, and at most, the rest of Lev is slowly rotating over through spawn. So, with that pressure in main, this Viper player is forced to fall back, and G2 catches an absolutely perfect timing as 3 come through the orb, get a 1-for-1 trade onto King here, and they've already set themselves up in a winning position now. They're going to get into a post plant, but the round's not done yet. It's a 4v4 at this point, with that spike going down, and they'll commit a lockdown in a bit of a strange position. You're never going to see a Killjoy putting a lockdown here. But because of the space they gained in mid, this basically stunts Lev's ability to go for a retake. Everyone who wants to push through is stuck out here or would have to reflank all the way back through. And this means that G2 is able to get into a really good post-plant position. They know there's going to be a fight from mid, so multiple players are setting up to take this swing under 2. They're using volleys, utility to delay on this one, and they come out favorable from the trades. But there's even more than that. They have insurance policies in this round. Leaf dying there is fine because he's bought time. Look what Trent has on the board. The Hunter's Fury. They retreat this post-plant all the way back into main, and despite the fact that this util is going to come in, that there are tools for Lev to retake, they have enough left to stall this one out. All of this round started because of a very simple little piece of utility that Valen read and rotated off of. And he had rounds like that throughout this game, where he's taking the little cues, the little reads he has, and transforming them into round wins.
Crazy to think one small thing, you know, shooting a molly, a killjoy molly, leads to a cascading effect, as we saw right there.
And I think the thing that is so impressive about Valen, it sometimes gets some flack for playing like very slow rounds on the attacking side, but all he is waiting for is that critical piece of information that tells him exactly how to win out the round. Sometimes that's going to take him a minute, 10 seconds. Sometimes it is just as simple as that molly gets broken and he finds the immediate solve. But no matter what he does in a round is seek out that information and then break the team that he's playing against.
Valen is only 21 years old. He's been on this roster for a long time, almost 3 years now. And in that time, he has grown so much as an IGL. They went from the team who choked in Reykjavik 2 years ago when they went on their miracle run to now a team that is great under pressure. They can come back at big games, at international events, and now they've made it to their second finals in a row here in Americas. His journey's been incredible, and G2 would be nowhere close to the quality of team without this IGL.
G2 is Valen.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. The man absolutely has contributed so much to this team. It's actually here from Valen and Leaf is actually standing by outside with Riv and Van Silly. What you got, guys?
What's going on, everybody? We're here at the block party, joined by Leaf and Valen. We're going to get right into it. Leaf, I have to ask you, if you think back to last year, you fell just short of LCQ to none other than Leviatán. Then fast forwarding to this season, joined as a duelist, but then switched to Sentinel, and things are changing, even though it was a comfortable role. What, though, do you think you've kind of grown and learned as an individual or a team that allowed you guys to be so successful in this run?
I think as an individual, like, I've grown a lot. I mean, obviously swapping a different role requires kind of a different mindset, but I think I'm pretty, like, smart at the game. Compared to last year, I think that I'm a lot more patient and like disciplined, and that's just like the general team. Like, I feel like our team as a whole is very on the same page, know what we want to do, and we don't like try to, you know, there's some rounds that we do like overextend, but I think as a whole, like, we try not to make mistakes that are avoidable. So I think that's just like the main change.
Yeah, that's awesome. Actually, to piggyback on that is to find yourselves on the same page, and it's a question for you, Valen. In a similar vein, you had to go through, you know, different roster changes, but compositional changes, role changes. When did you finally see it finally start clicking here for G2 to finally get the results here to get to this moment today?
I would say right before or when we qualified for Shanghai for Masters 2, I felt like that's when we built a lot of inner confidence within ourselves, but also within the team. It kind of proves like, hey guys, if we, you know, keep devoting our hard work and efforts into this project, let's make this work, no matter what, we can win. Because we went through some rough losses throughout the whole year to kind of build up into this point. But I would say that's when it clicked for sure. It was right before that tournament. We had a great run there, so that was the little cherry on top.
Yeah.
And I got to ask you, kind of for both of you, but more to start with Leaf. You have both been coached by MCE in the past, and what have you kind of taken from those learnings? And also, how can you kind of compare that to Josh RT's coaching?
I mean, I don't think Matt will deny it, but there's definitely a lot of differences in terms of like what they both like provide. I think Matt, MCE, is very good at like teaching people, and he's very good, like very smart too, but I think that's like where he shines, is like getting that like foundation of like fundamentals and stuff like that and discipline. Important. But Josh kind of just takes it a step further with like he's very like, he's more discipline focused, I would say, from my POV, and he's just more like minuscule, like the minute details, which like make us even like 1% better. He's all about like that 1%, which I feel like kind of makes it so that we don't make as many mistakes because we're just focused on that like one detail, like that 1% detail.
At least you guys have found success with MCE, now finding success with Josh RT, and I don't think you really had a chance to like take a step back and breathe through the whole journey that you went through, Valen, so far, from going to Challengers, winning Ascension, going to Grand Finals of Stage 1, top 3 Shanghai, this Grand Finals in Stage 2. So how's it going so far? Like, tell me about, like, you know, the vibe and how you feel going through this journey.
I mean, the feelings is definitely a lot of like gratitude. Honestly, I'm very grateful to be in this position. This is what I love doing. So being able to play a lot of matches this year, get the experience, hang out with my boys at LANs, like nothing beats that. That's the best feeling in the world. You know, when I look back a bit, it does show that I've had a successful couple of years, but it doesn't really like change me at all. I feel like I'm still the same person I was in Challengers. Obviously, I've grown, but in terms of my mindset, I just take it day by day, game by game, and you know, hopefully I can keep coming out with wins. I don't want to kind of get ahead of myself. I think that's common to see people get ahead of themselves a bit. I'm just, you know, focused in the now, focused on the moment. Hopefully I can win this grand final.
That's awesome. And one of the final questions for you, looking at playing Lev 4 times now in the season, if you think back to Shanghai, Heretics kind of had your number after 3 games. Like, is there any worry here where you guys are trying to make sure they don't have your read, that Lev won't be able to just look at those games and come in hard?
Yeah, I would say for me, I'm definitely someone who thinks rematches are challenging, but I will say I feel like I've talked about it with my team. I talked about it with even the performance coach, and I feel like sometimes I overestimate the opponent's ability to adapt from a loss. So for this one, I'm just going in with the mindset of these guys don't know how to beat us. We're going to go and doing our thing, and as long as we can execute that well, we're going to win.
Same for you, Lee?
Yeah, I would agree. I'd also just say that like they didn't have a lot of time to prepare for this, so I think having like that kind of mentality is better than over worrying. I think Shanghai, like Heretics, a little different because it was just like a lot more stuff, but I think like here and now it's like nothing really changed. Like we know how good we are, and we know, you know, they didn't have a lot of time to prep, like I said, so I think we're very comfortable going into it.
Awesome. Thank you guys for your time. Best of luck in the grand finals.
Good luck, guys. It's going to be kick-ass.
All right, well, let's go ahead and check in over toward the Big Apple. You got Tarek standing by.
Yo, guys, it's Tarek here, live from New York City at the block party. We got the beautiful crowd here. Yo, guys, can we get a yeah? And we're about to go live to the match. We'll see you guys soon.
There were at least like 8 people in the crowd going, "You're." So thank you guys. All right, well, let's go ahead and give some love over to G2's opponent. You got Leviatán. Now, this is a squad that has been engineered, forged in the fires of Rostermania to create a championship roster.
I mean, look, Lev signed champions to be champions, bar none. Like, obviously, the Ospa signing, ridiculous. You've got, you know, a VALORANT champion from 2022 in that. You've also got the Americas champion in 2023 coming back to defend that trophy here today. The only player from that Loud roster, but also the fact that they got Calm at the last moment in that offseason is massive.
And people criticized it at the time, but I think his impact on the team has been massive. And he's now the only player of that EG roster that won champs last year who has a chance to defend his title. This is a team whose expectation is simple. Go to international events and win them. That's why this team signed superstars in this way, and thus far they haven't been able to perform in the matches that matter.
Yeah, and now this is, well, the biggest of matches for them, right? Aspas, of course, being one of the game's biggest stars, a world champion, the global kill leader. He's probably going to be the league MVP at the rate that he's going at. But I guess the question is, right, we really talked about Valen's value, but does Aspas, you know, do it in a different way? Like, let's have that value conversation here, because it's quite fascinating.
I think Aspas is the obvious answer for who is your league MVP. He has put up performances 3 years in a row as a superstar player. However much utility, how much assets are put into him, he is always succeeding. He is the X factor, no matter what team he is on, to take over matches and win them.
And obviously, Aspas, you know, god-tier duelist, right? One of the greatest, probably the greatest over the history of the game here. But I do think there is a serious case to be made that Valen is the league MVP in America's 2024.
All right.
This guy literally carried his team from Ascension to that trophy, brought them here, and then has looked so good. It's not just the fact that he's the leader on this team and a great IGL. He's the best IGL right now in Americas, and
and he is the top performing smokes players in Americas 2. This guy is constantly top fragging over duelists on his team, over Leaf, who's an insane fragger too. The impact he has both individually in server and also the calling aspect of the game means that if I were to build a team, it would be around Valen first every single time.
Yeah.
These two players are both the win conditions for their team, but in very different ways. Ospas is around his individual performance, opening kills, taking over games, what he can do in that regard. That's why he's a superstar. But Valen, he's the reason that G2 wins matches. We've talked a lot about his calling, his story, his history.
Yeah.
G2 is successful in large part because of Valen, and I think both of these players will be the make or break if their team wins today.
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and go back to the block party. We got Rivington Vansili standing by because we're going to hear from Tex and King.
The block party's still popping off, and we're joined by King and Tex as we're hanging out here from Leviatán. Tex, I want to start with you right away. You come back from a bit of a shaky Masters to dominate the Stage 2 round. What do you think is the biggest change there for the team as you guys came in?
We really just had to fix some of our mistakes, honestly. I think Masters exposed a lot of our flaws that we were getting away with in Americas. So really it was just, just focusing on really specific things and just locking in on them.
All right. And then for King, for you, this is the first time here in the VCTs that you get to IGL, an international roster built to win championships. How different has it been right now outside of language barriers? How has the culture been versus the old LATAM team that you had?
I mean, to be honest, the main difference, not that much about culture, because like with Ian, for example, we've been like already bros since we like met, but I feel like with the LATAM teams I've had, first of all, I had way less experience, like literally learning on the fly, and it was more like a team, like to be friends, like we were friends, we were like kind of scared to say things to each other, but here we're also like really close, but here we are like a team that really want to win,
Yeah.
That's the main difference.
And to follow up on that, though, because you're saying that you were inexperienced as well as IGL, and do you feel now in this year for 2024, like, like the perfect calls, you're able to read every team? Like, how do you feel right now as an IGL?
I mean, I don't know, like the perfect calls. I think maybe it's too much, but I do feel, and I know for a fact that I've improved so much since last year. Like, my understanding of the game last year was like really small, and with all the coaching I've had, with the experience of having Tex, Aspas, Corvin, like I've opened my mind literally, and I've just like been like a sponge, like just absorbing knowledge, I'm now at a point that I feel really confident in my IGLing,
Now the calls flow.
Yeah, now the calls flow. Staying on the topic of improving, it's been several months since you started in a new role. Like, what do you feel like your contributions have been, and are they better than on previous teams now that you've kind of started this growth?
Yeah, I definitely feel like I've been trying to be a really good teammate this year. I know learning a new role is one thing, but I think you can also evolve as a person as well. And really just been, trying to be there for the boys, always trying to be motivational, trying to bring up the vibes if things are going, bad. And I think it's important to have people like that on the team.
Absolutely.
But yeah, overall, it's just, I'm just happy, and I think the boys are happy too. And like, at the end of the day, that's really like, it really helps everything.
Thumbs up? Yeah. Okay. See, the other boys are happy.
I still think it's cool because you pretty much went through the same type of like transition as Leaf did. You guys were star duelists, going to Sentinel roles, and now both kicking ass in that role as well. And now you were talking about evolving with the team. You had to evolve with a different roster because now you're not playing with that G2 roster that you ascended with. So going into today's game, it's a grand finals against them. How much would it mean to you, for you, to finally beat them if you can?
Honestly, it's going to be the best feeling of the year if I win this grand final, I'm not going to lie. I love the guys, but I also want to not prove only myself, but to everyone else that I could have easily been on that roster, and that's really all I'm coming for today.
Hell yeah.
All right. King, final question for you. We had a long 5-map series yesterday. How are the energy levels coming into today? Give us a vibe check as it might be another 5 matches.
I mean, to be honest, I think we've been going through a lot of series these last couple days, but we have like two things in advantage. First of all, we've been scrimming a lot, like in the days, 4 scrims, like we put the energy enough all day to prepare for this specific situation. And also, it's the last step, you know, like we cannot fluke, we cannot stop at any moment. And I don't care, like anyone, they might be tired, but the adrenaline, the will to win is gonna be way higher than that. So I'm just happy about that.
Especially when you want to chase after your first trophy. So all the best for you guys here for the VCTs in the grand finals, and we'll see you guys in the server.
Thank you.
All right, we're getting down to the wire. 1-minute warning. Here are the predictions from the entirety of the Talon team. And wow, we only have 2 people going for Leviatán, Ender and Uber. Mimi, why you went G2?
I think the case for G2 is simple. They've had a day off to prep. Lev just came off a grueling BO5. A double map ban advantage for our heaviest prep team in the league. I think that Valen and Josh RT are going to come out with a fantastic game plan and replicate the success they had against Leviatán in their last game.
Mimi, I can imagine what will be. Unburdened by what was that series against G2 a few days ago. I have been ride or die with Leviatán all year long. Yesterday was 50% of their power. 2 days ago was 30%. Today we're getting 100%. Aspas is going to be frying. King's saying they're locked in. GB, they're locked in, ready to win this thing.
They're locked in. They say they're ready to win it. All right. Look, no matter how it shakes up, we're going to be treated to an excellent matchup between 2 phenomenal squads. This is it, though, folks. The wait is over. It's time to get this best of 5 started. You got G2 Esports versus Leviatán for one final time, baby. The VCT Americas season finals starts right now.
A lot of eyes are on Americas. We've shown that we've had the best teams throughout all the years. Winning the Americas trophy is no small feat.
Forcing his players out from the wide open space. No way, adjustment, Valen, ridiculous. It's magnetic in the moment, sticks it to half, wind goes hurt, and around, 1 out. That is ludicrous.
There's no way they know. 1, 2, 3, every single one spotted. Better late than never. Calm gets his 4.
G2 is the only team that's beaten us in split 2, so it'd be nice to get back at them.
Cyber, they're not accounting for this octagon. Flash is perfect, Jonah B!
They've been looking really good. They've shown they're hot, but now when the pressure's on, can they perform? We lost to them pretty convincingly last time. Now we just got to come back and show what we really are.
I was very close in split 1, and I saw 100 Thieves lift it before my eyes. That's definitely motivation going into this, but I'm not going to let that happen again.
I'm very excited for the grand finals. I've never won Americas. I would like to add Americas to that trophy case.
This time around, I'll be the ones lifting the trophy.
What is that?
Riot Games Arena, please join me in welcoming your first Stage 2 Grand Finalist, G2 Esports! Give it up for Icy! And now, let's bring out their opponents in this best-of-5 series for the VCT Americas Championship. Make some noise for Leviatán's Esports! Let's give it up one more time for your grand finalists!
And the wait is finally over. It is now time to crown our America's champion. On one end, you have G2 Esports, a team that has been forged through the fires of resiliency. And then on the other side of the stage, it's a Leviatán roster bred for greatness, created for perfection and championships. You genuinely couldn't have asked for a better setup for this matchup.
G2 ended last year winning Ascensions after sticking together in Tier 2, passing up on opportunities to go to the Partnership League. Now this year they have been on a run, made a controversial roster move, then took off with their run in Stage 1, with their performance at Shanghai, and now they have a chance to hoist their first ever trophy in Tier 1.
On the other side of the stage, a former teammate in Tex, the rest of Leviatán coming in without vetoes. G2 decide to take away Sunset and Icebox. Icebox, a map G2 just smoked Lev on the other day, but it shows they don't have hubris, right? They know that is still Leviatán's best map and are taken out of the pool.
And that's clear respect given. Both these maps have been great for Leviatán all season, so they go into a lot of G2 strengths to start out. A Lotus and Haven, both maps where I think Valen's IGLing has been excellent.
And to finish the series, if we go to 5 on the brand new map of Abyss.
I want it so bad.
What?
I want it.
That would be
I want
incredible.
it so. It would be unbelievable, man, if we got over to Abyss to determine who is the America's champion. What are the chances of that? And look, the reality is the chances are actually quite good, because even when you look at the maps that got taken out for Leviatán, Icebox and Sunset, you still got to be like, well, you know, it's still Leviatán. They still have the firepower to be able to take it to G2 on some of these more preferred maps for them.
They absolutely do. My biggest question for Leviatán is how well are they going to perform under pressure? Because you can't help but draw back to Stage 1 playoffs, to Shanghai, where they disappointed, and honestly almost losing that BO5 to Crew yesterday. This is their opportunity, though, to lock in, to let the past be in the past, and go into Champions as America's #1 seed with the regional trophy.
Yeah, because the best version of Leviatán is the team that didn't drop a map during the regular season in Stage 2, the team that hasn't lost a regular season game since their first one against Cloud9. Playoffs have been tough for them, but if they come in that form, they are going to give G2 a run for their money.
And that's the difference between these teams. Lev has been the consistent monster in the regular season, whereas G2 has been the squad that steps up in these big games. Look at that run in Shanghai, the comebacks against teams that they had no business beating. They have a chance to do that here too.
Another big question about who shows up is what Icy do we get today? This guy has been all over the place. Sometimes he can deliver back at Shanghai. Last few days hasn't been that same level.
And he's facing up against Ospas, far and away the best duelist in our league.
But they have done this before. Let's not forget. Yes, it wasn't, Ospas was popping off, but let's not forget, G2 walked away with a 2-0 victory. Put Leviatán in that lower bracket to begin with. Here comes your agents, though. We got Icy locking up the race.
I do think that Lotus is one of Icy's better maps. He gets to brawl a little bit more with the team here and really get set up nicely by his teammates. This is one he performs very well on, but it's also the 47 bomb of Ospas that he's got to go up against.
And Ospas is playing on the Neon now. This is where Leviatán debuted a new comp, playing that Breach and that Fade combined with that Neon. A bit of a new school comp, but I actually think they play it really well here.
We'll see if they can actually break the defensive side, though, of G2, because obviously you've got Leaf that's so fantastic on the Killjoy here. But Jonah P has been playing absolutely out of his mind in playoffs. This guy is an absolute superstar and not an easy man to shut down.
And Leviatán is starting on the attack, where I think this Neon comp is a little bit harder than those fast rotates you get on the defense, and also where I think we have seen this team struggle at times. G2 is a great defensive team on this map. A lot of the time, they're coming out the better on their defensive side, which is super rare for teams on Lotus, and that honestly all comes down to the immaculate mid-rounding that Valen finds.
Valen is truly the genius on the defensive side. He finds ways to either get flanks going or rotate, get stacks going up against your opposition. He never over-rotates his players. He reads teams like a book.
Well, let's go ahead and do this thing, shall we? It's time for map number 1 in this best-of-5 series. The trophy, the glory, it's all on the line. Let's go ahead and send it over to your casters for this one. You got, of course, Bryn and Sideshow.
Thank you very much, guys. Yeah, what an honor it is to cover this one here. Our finale in Americas for 2024. 2 worthy competitors. Listen, they've had their trials and tribulations throughout this entire year, but it's right here, right now, where they're going to lay claim to be the best in Americas.
It's certainly our 2 best teams, and they have followed very different paths. Love the way that Mimi set it up. One team that we've been worried about in bracket play, but has still made it all the way through. Difficult matches, pushed to the limit. Leviatán maintain their spot in the finals. But G2, it feels like there's an aura around this team where when the game matters most, they deliver. Having said that, Valen spoke earlier about seeing 100 Thieves lift that Stage 1 trophy and vowing not to let it slip out of his grasp again. I'm expecting this to be a banger, and we open up on the map that Leviatán have been banning recently.
Exactly. Definitive advantage here for G2. They came through the uppers. They were right in the wrongs of what went on for them in Stage 1 in that finals. They had to battle it up from the lower bracket. They know how tough it can be. You had Leaf and Valen talking about the preparation difference that they're expecting, at least, that Lev have had really no time to reset and think about this match. Too much icy! An opener. Potentially closes at a pistol as well, just from that first kill alone. Put a pause into the step of Leviatán.
It's very difficult to pivot away from A now. You're lacking smokes. How could you possibly go to B?
And the call is made to just take it slow and steady. A bit of contacting plays. There's a gap in the defensive protocol here. Jonah P, it's up to him to try and close that one still. Aspas right back in. And now, down to that 4v4. Getting a bit of a run on. Leave here in the footsteps. Sets it up nice and easy. A bit of that squeeze once more occurring, Com. Just flanking straight from main again, but it's difficulties here. The spike's been dropped down.
They've actually managed this 4v5 situation really nicely, apart from losing the spike here. G2 allowing them to collect it. This fight is going to go on to B with no smokes.
And straight into it. Trying to take the brawl right into the fray. I see! That is an opening you can only dream of here in our best-of-5 grand finals.
Questions about this guy's form? Of course there are going to be, with the extraordinary success we've seen from him in certain matches. What a way to answer those questions early on. A 4K hitting such excellently precise shots with the Sheriff. Rumors, stories about him dropping 40 in scrims and G2 choosing him above all others to fill the role of duelist. Vindicated, at least here at the beginning.
Sets it up more than nicely here. Leviatán. Game plan's made easy for them, just seeing if they can vacuum up any of these ult orbs, farm up some potential ults just to at least carry it forward into the next few sections here. But you mentioned earlier, Josh, just how much Valen wanted it. The whole team wants this trophy lift here. Not just vindication for, you know, some of the decisions that have been made by this G2 org, but also just the ability to go from strength to strength. They won out Ascension. They made a finals, even making international events their first year in partnerships. But here and now is where they can really cement themselves as building that legacy.
And I think you couldn't get a more stark contrast than the 2 duelists that we have. Icy is not only part of the team that's come through Ascension, but he is a straight-up rookie. He hasn't had even the tenure that the other G2 players have. On the other side, the duelist for Leviatán is looking to be the 2-time trophy lifter in Americas.
Trying to cement that GOAT status here. Bit of pressure definitely applied now towards these anchoring players. Valen It's up to him to offset that. Again, plenty of bodies just ready to wade right in front of him, and he will mop them up. Assistant to the rest of his team, ready by their sides, and Aspas will be that last one left.
It was on this map that we saw magic created from Aspas earlier on in the season. A ridiculous amount of kills. I think Leviatán, though, as we head forwards and start to think about what their attack side's going to look like, it's very easy for Valen to get a read on Lev if they use a lot of initiator utility early round to take map control. You might be thinking, okay, they have Breach Fate. They should be able to take Rubble really quickly, take Mound really quickly. But if you use your double initiator util at the start of the round, G2 are going to know exactly where you're headed. So Lev are forced to save that util to deny information and make it difficult for G2 to tell where they're ending. So we might see some slow-paced beginnings to these rounds and then explosive executes.
One's going to be used nice and early here for Aspas. That's TP disengaged from Valen as well. Horn potentially to get Aspas back up onto that line. It's being pushed back. Leaf's making a go of things here with the Outlaw in his hands. Even rattled off one of the shots, so they're aware of that. Big weapon into his hands. Plenty of targets potentially, or literally at least just the one Tex on the half armor that would have gone down to it.
So having used a lot of initiator util over towards Mound, they've dragged 3 players from the defense to C, and now they're going to look to try to retake Rubble. But you see how obvious it is where Leviatán are moving around. You kind of know now that they've left C because you're hearing all of this noise on the other side of the map.
Only being maintained as well. One player to lock down Rubble. To C's at his feet. He's tethered, rooted to the spot, makes him an easy pickings target here for Leviatán. He's taking that A Rubble control, and they've still maintained control of C Mound the whole time. You might see the pivot occurring. King's going to be making that call for the rest of his team and eventually following suit.
This is a lovely call. Going back to King, who was inserted there, means now there's only one player defending on C.
And it's all on Leaf as well. Not the weapon for the job as well, but there's going to be that swarm approaching. Overwhelming them. At least with the Nano Swarm still available. We'll slow them down for but a moment to try and buy time for the reinforcements. G2 to get back into the fight. Running for the right timing once more as the tap not quite. Walking into the smoke, they choose to face it. And it is overwhelming at that with the rifles in hands. Pure weaponry advantage at play here by Lev, but what a call to make in the midst of it. A world in which Valen surely doesn't get away with it. It's 2 though. Well, I can't imagine it's a possibility for Trent. It's made just that little bit more winnable here, but with only a stinger in hand. It would require Lev to slip up almost entirely to win around in this capacity, especially with time taken away from him.
5 health on Aspas, but on and off angle. Does get cleared. So that's a little more damage. Another rifle taken out of the hands. Up until they chose to fight against Valen, this was looking like an absolutely flawless anti-bonus. And Leaf did invest, so he's going to have weaker weaponry here heading into the next round. I'm not a big fan when we see teams doing that kind of thing. Now he's going to be working with, look, light armor Stinger in this one. A lot of the Americas teams are going for these slightly more invested looks in the bonus. Doesn't make too much sense to me, but we'll see if Leaf can get value out of the Stinger. He's mostly going to be playing that Anchor C position, which you do get a lot of close range fights, especially when there's a Neon barreling into your face.
Aspas going to be trying to hunt out those opportunities and chances. Obviously, very much enabled. The rest of his team, the double initiator comp here, not opting for a gun. Instead, he does have that overdrive sitting in his back pocket, and here it is, trying to go for a bit of an electric opening. Valen, he just stands his ground. Will not let them pass the initial choke point.
Excellent read.
Pushing them back.
Excellent read there. Valen was waiting for that off the turret contact, off any kind of explode into B. They're ready for these fast B hits. They were on the pistol as well. And this is where Leviatán's composition struggles a little bit more compared to the normal Viper setups, where you can try to contact into Rubble.
Toxins going up.
Making a good go of it though.
Trent could get pinched here. King doesn't have the paranoia, but Trent's quite alone.
Potentially there in the danger zone. The door's rotated. It's alerting a lot of G2 to the possibility that they are outside this A. A few bullets spraying away. Jonah P almost thinking about the timing here in this corner. Will he get cleared? It's hard and it's sloppy at best, really, but Lev eventually making their go. Straight through into the baby door. Again, is being shut down. G2 are very quick to respond. Rewarded with a spike in elapse too, so will be no chances anymore for Mazzino. Just forced to really scurry away, save this rifle into the next.
10 seconds
What ends
left.
up winning this round for G2? Valen's read on the game. He may have a chance to deny this final rifle as well. Mazzino's going to keep it in hand. Get that breach ult online. But a silver lining to an otherwise very G2-focused defense there. I love the read at the beginning. They very much focused on the fact that Lev, with the double initiator comp, are more likely to run BXX. It just suits their composition more. So Valen's there with Paranoia, swings into the Neon wall, and able to isolate that. And then Valen's also there to clean up and help Trent towards the end. Stops King from being able to pinch, also takes down Tex. 8-1 before Mazzino ended up knocking him towards the end of the round.
It's always going to be a bit of an uphill battle, I think, for Leviatán, coming from that lower finals. Find disadvantage, but maybe a player like this is enough to upset it. Aspas, this guy is not willing to step back, not willing to take things lightly. And a slight misstep, but still cleaned up in the end by Mazzino.
What a way to open up an eco round where you only had a single rifle to work with. Mazzino throwing it to the player he knows will do the most. And they managed to turn one rifle into 3. A 4v2 that now looks extremely difficult. Con playing for the jiggle, getting info on Leaf. It's almost a save. You're looking at the economy for Trent and Jonah P. They need the rifles into the next round.
The money's been struggling, I think, despite the fact that G2 are ahead in rounds. They've been, surviving with 1 or 2 players basically at most.
I've got to say, I don't think of Aspas as being a spray control guy as much. And normally, he's got that super precise, clean headshot aim. Here, barrels his way forwards, takes a 2v1, deletes both players spraying with a Phantom. Absolutely beautiful.
It's the kind of firepower you get from a player like Aspas. He himself as well said many a time. There you go. Damage done through the wall there, I believe, towards the end, but it was only King that was dropped. Just about missed it, but this is a player on your screens that, he's yearning for that trophy himself. He's one of the only players left standing in the playoffs that even has a chance of claiming back-to-back from the prior year. 2023 lifted that Americas trophy.
What was this?
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, the spray control onto Jonah's swing as well, the prediction of it. Perfection. That's turned the map already.
The money situation, not ideal here for G2. Even that early bit of damage. Leaf dropped down to just 10 HP. Has to respect that now. The angle's given up out towards C.
There.
Can there be a player on G2 that steps up in the same kind of way to win a Thrifty and answer back? Turret taken down and very little response to that. No immediate execute into B, so G2 holds strong, thinking that that turret break is just designed to pull people.
It's a heavy committal, isn't it, by G2? Out towards the say rubble fight, but understandable when IC is only working with a Sheriff, but a Showstopper might be the difference maker.
I mean, this is going to be a fake over towards A rubble here, but I think G2 have got a bit of a read on what's going on. Because there wasn't any additional pressure behind that utility, where are they going to end right now? Probably into Leaf and Valen.
Yeah, into Leaf and Valen. Wait a second.
Indecision with 40 seconds left. I'm not feeling great about this from Lev's point of view. They're going into Icy with a Showstopper.
It's worked, though. G2, hook, line, sinker. It's only Icy who's going to be left. And you are right, he does have that Showstopper, but one tool against an entire army that's now going to be facing him. Revealed up and oh, no way, the Sheriff. Not even any time to let loose with the ultimate, but still with that weapon in hand. Maybe he's made it that much more difficult. That is ridiculous. It's all just gone to pot. Leviatán forced to barrel their way through with brute force in the end. Only 6 seconds left, but the spike drops out. Final with the Paranoia has to be stuck. There's not more time. It's too late. He missed it. G2, all they have to do is hide and run away, and it's a round 1 for them.
What an unbelievable round there. I think King had time to get the plant down if he'd wanted to plant in an unsafe position, but he chose to tuck himself in as tight as he could, and the numbers on the clock were just not there for him. What a wild round. We heard from King earlier on in that interview with Riv and Vansili saying he's learned so much this year in terms of his calling, but when the pressure's applied to that kind of degree, there was mad indecision in that round. With 45 seconds to go, they wanted to see execute. They realized they hadn't cleared out Rubble enough, so they were thinking about G2 having the read.
There.
Doubt, hesitation, creeping into the minds of Lev, culminating in back-to-back thrifties and G2 straight back in the driver's seat.
Got the money back.
Cage triggered.
Takes under a lot of that pressure here. There's even an ult expended. Normally a risky endeavor here by Icy as well. It's unlikely to really get too much value. Everybody scurries and backs away from it, so at least Lev can slow it down and be happy with that, but now gonna have to make a play to potentially re-clear out a Rubble just to make sure it's not overly obvious where they're gonna be ending.
And of all the ideas to go for here, Aspas with an attack side operator. So your Neon, the person that you want to be making space for you, picking up a weapon that runs counter to that. This has got to be a slow round to make a pick work for Aspas, but you've only got 50 seconds left after the initial skirmish.
Exactly. It's the hourglass running dry already. All in game plan for that slow siege, hoping that Aspas would get a pick opening with this operator, but now they're directed straight into C. No utils being cleared. Valen and Leaf are side by side. The stun and fault line. At least with the Nightfall, it's all going to be combined, concatenated in to see if they can get this site hit. But again, like I said, the Nanoswarm's not there. Topping it over, it's a rifle into the hands, but again, a fight taken straight into the smokes. It's so damn disjointed. Door opened up, noise cues cut away. Nobody can hear a bloody thing. Masino sticking into the plan, but nobody's watching these angles at all. It's on to Aspas and Tex. They've got to try and stave off the aggression, stave off G2, but it's inevitable at this point. Surely Tex can't do it, just overwhelmed into the corner. And another one for G2, racking up the rounds, up to 5.
Another moment where the calling from Lev looks a little scrambled towards the end. They're struggling here with the clock. But also, what a play from Jonah P. The professor makes use of silence in the university library, runs in behind, guns down 3. That Nightfall, there was nobody in the post-plant positions that could hear him coming. I don't think they even realized the door had been opened. The reaction late. And Jonah P gets easy ones. Going into attack timeout here, actually, and there was just a flash of a strat towards the bottom there. Couldn't claim that I saw exactly who was typing it, but whichever team saying, you know, let's take A, let's play for A control, so.
Yeah, a lot of pings on the minimap by Leviatán, at least even now. Yeah. Sitting in their timeout, so out towards stairs, into the site, just all these angles that potentially they want to make sure are covered.
You know you've got a large LED screen when you're using penguins to block up the dead pixels.
Yeah. Gets expensive otherwise. It's a little Easter egg. Throw it into the mix.
A beautiful look for these two teams coming out as well with the trophy there too.
Oh yeah. And that's what both of these teams are fighting for. Listen, it might look like an amalgamated piece of metal, but it is important to absolutely everybody on the stage. I don't mean that in a negative way as well. I do quite like our trophy.
It's a beautiful trophy. Yeah. It really is.
It goes here.
Op Odin, G2. Trent taking his position in tree. Plenty of opportunities to get use out of that weapon that can turn the walls to paper. If you're looking to try to play for an ult orb, if Trent can get a good haunt lineup, so many ways that these two weapons are going to cause Lev trouble. And look, Lev wanted to take A control, and G2 wanted to fight them for it.
Immediately going to be feeling the pressure, aren't they? Straight from the Odin spam. Hailing down with a lead. It's another wall that's just thrown up into the game plan of Leviatán here, but they're not slowing down. It's all opened up. Trent second guessing, backing away now.
Yeah, good break on the haunt from Lev, because otherwise that Odin would have rattled out.
Nice, he's still staying vigilant. Operator into his hands. Might have a difficult task ahead of him here, but at least giving it up. Dodging the initial fault line and util that comes out. Trent again having to give up this space. Up to the corner, this time Jonah P not into the usual one here. Ult's now going to be used by Aspas. Potential indicator. Slight pause from Lev. They're just hoping that there's some initial util going to be used out and through. Tever and Prowler in through the back, clears out most of it. Dropping down, shots though. And there's a covering fire from Trent. Satchel back up onto the high ground and safety in numbers. G2 looking to play this one strongly together. King, risk to be taken. Out through the back, Comgon for flanks and finds it. At least rewarded. King on for another. Everybody dropping here. Leviatán are looking strong in control of every possibility here. The retake shut down before it can even begin. G2 left reeling, and Leviatán at least one step closer to potentially even up this scoreline.
Huge round from Com as well, finding that value. Great read on where the G2 players were going to be coming from and the timings they were going to take too. When aspas overstepped, there was the potential for this post plant to crumble, but Com was there for 2 very important kills, controlling stairs and that flank. If Com loses either of those duels, suddenly it's on for G2. Surely not. Another time.
Okay.
Back to back, basically.
Onto the other side of things. Not liking what the game plan was potentially being called here. Josh has got some strong words potentially for the team.
He's just spoken to them. Bear in mind, you know, when Lev take a timeout, Josh can still have input. But of course, G2, everything was working fairly nicely. Apart from that thrifty round where aspas just tears you up. Which, listen, what's a coach going to tell you to do there? Don't get sprayed down.
Oh, it's just an aspas moment.
Sure. But here, needing that time to talk to the team, right the ship, G2 are going to be going into the next with a thrifty. And Lev's comp is still going to be exceptionally strong on the defense side, maybe even stronger because of the potential to flood defend or set retake behind aspas, who's going to send it on the neon with double initiator util.
Yeah, I mean, I agree strongly with that, really. The overall rule book of Lotus, the way we are used to it playing out, very strong in terms of the attack side and calling. When you see these different comps being ran out, Lev very strong with the retake protocols. Rewriting what we might be expecting here. G2 on their half by, looking for a bit of a play. They're trying to take the fight straight up. It's a skirmish that they are trying to force the handoff here. This is the aftershock into the corner. Valen's going to be forced out wide, but not taking any damage into the process and not punished for it either. Instead, full rotations now. Abound by Lev. Nothing to do with the A site.
I like this. A little bit of pressure from Tex over towards B. Stalls out those rotators, and it's only Leaf.
Yeah, still, it's got the funny gun, the silly gun into his hands. We've come, dropped in the process, a lot of damage onto aspas, locked down, even committed. It's a big ult. Using it into this one here just to push them back and away. They are in through the back of the site.
This is a big risk from King and Tex. Remember, you're on an anti-eco. If they fall, the round falls with them.
Still, they've got side control. Now they can put the Pencer onto them. None the wiser here from G2, but again, shots seem to be rattled here with the satchel. Not enough to offset the movement. Standard just Leaf as well. He's open into the sight lines of all the rifles in play. So, Lev, one more round and they will be nice and even. 5-5 with G2.
I think Leviatán will feel great about that round as well. Getting the lockdown out of G2. You can understand why Leaf went for it. It did cause a bit of disruption to what Leviatán were up to.
Yeah.
But in the end, the ult not finding the round victory. So not available for the future, not going to be available for the rest of this half. It feels very much to me like these two teams are still trying to get the read on each other. And we're in round 10. The half's already over almost.
The back and forth has just been incredible. Adjustments being made, that's fast. Takes a cheeky one.
He missed it in the previous round, make sure not to. Go on, hit the button.
He finally gets hold of it here. There's a fault line to push them back as well once more. Lev again cascading this util forwards, making sure that they can scale up and take deep control throughout the back of the site here. And they're going to be applying that pressure once more. G2, they were ready for this last time, a bit of an aggression, but there's that extra element of flash to peek through and around, and King, who will deliver it, rips away 2 of the lives of G2 again from the high ground perch, but unable to stand against it. Leviatán.
This aggression in the post plant from Lev has been lovely. Combo with the breach flash there, slight distraction to turn Trent. They have not allowed G2 to set up for retakes. G2 are trying to create utility advantages where they are the team that has a Paranoia, a Haunt, maybe a Prowler to work with, and then they'll get ready to overwhelm and try to retake the site. And Lev are not allowing it. Forcing the fights, trying to pick those timings. Get hold of G2 before the retake can happen, and they plummet them again to another thrifty.
Second to last round into the half. Lev not seeing any signs of life here, other than the Haunt that's not quite dealt with. Real onto aspas, backs away with the door opened up. Slowly but steadily, they will be making their way over towards the A side. Trent. It's an off-angle Prowler, though. Alerts into his position here. Might be feeling a ton more of that pressure where it came from. Again, the Prowler's going to be dodged just narrowly. Again, there's a fault line at his feet, stunned up as well. Will he be able to get anything here for his troubles? Mazina with the plant. Haven't cleared up backside. Second wave of things now. Leviatán trying to go for it, and inside the smoke they go. There's defensive util that was laid down by G2 here just to even stand a chance, but they are picking them apart now still. Sheriffs in hand, but it's overwhelming again, and full committal hive mind mentality. Mazina the one to clean up the most and come to finish.
It feels different today, Brent. We saw these two teams clash very recently. G2 2-0. Knocked Leviatán down, earned themselves the right for double map vetoes in this match. It feels different today. Lev are on fire individually, coming up with the right adaptations on their attack side. One more chance for G2.
One more chance indeed. Leviatán. Insane, does feel different, man. I mean, all the adjustments they've been making as well. Almost everything going their way here. G2 haven't been able to put a string of rounds on the board in quite some time here, but at least they do have this defensive Viper's Pit. This will make it a lot easier to allocate where the bodies might be, where the players need to play over towards the map. Ult online though, this Rolling Thunder is going to force the issue here for G2. Smokes are laid down. A little bit more where that came from again, but this time G2 not shying away from the fight once more, but there's pivot options here available. Not even a minute mark left onto the round itself here, and the door just waiting. Now's the time to strike! Leaf! This off angle plucks them apart just from the side. Aspas still just causing all sorts of a bit of mischief. Leaf still locking down this extremity. They do not know how to navigate this scenario whatsoever. It's gone to pot for G2 though. In control of it, still not expecting it. Mazino slipped his way in through tree once more, but only one left to stand on his text. With an operator in his hands, hunting for the rifle, noise being made. Cage is down and away. He's looking for a way to slip past. Potentially, the eyes of G2 players, a 1v3. Would be a miracle for him to pull this one off. Icy, ever vigilant. 6-6 is going to be that finish that we see here for the first half of Lotus.
Switching sides.
I loved how G2 were ready for that pivot through B. Valen throwing the paranoia at the same time as Leaf, ready to take contact. The A hits were working for Lev. Their aggression in the post plant threw G2 off. But in terms of the slower pace play and the maneuvers around the map, Valen was still a step ahead. And now he's got the opportunity to take hold of this game on the attack side.
Definitely hasn't been so far. It's been anyone's game at all. We're going to be finding out just who takes Lotus after this.
So I'm joined here by Khalil from Brazil. Of course, I want to know from him what he thinks about G2 and Leviatán. Who is going to win? Então, Khalil, quem que você acha que vai vencer? G2 ou Leviatán? Você tem favorito?
Mano, eu tô torcendo pra Leviatán particularmente, porque pô, eu gosto muito dos caras de lá, eles jogam muito bem. Eu acho que vai ser um jogaço, porque os dois times eles estão vindo de uma fase muito boa. E eu também, a gente estava treinando contra a G2 quando a gente estava lá nos Estados Unidos, os caras estão jogando muito bem, o individual coletivo muito bom. Então, mas eu acho que vai dar Leviatán.
So he said that he's supporting Leviatán because he really likes the guys from there, but he said that G2 is also in a really good phase. Of course, it's going to be an amazing match, a very close one, but he thinks Leviatán will win this match. So, sending it back to you now, guys.
So mixed expectations there, and of course, you know, Galil's going to be rooting for the team of Aspas on. You got to, you know, of course. Listen, he's one of the only Brazilians left, really, here in our playoffs. So why not? Got to go for it. And that trophy is what everybody is setting their eyes on.
I'm looking forward to this half coming up. When G2 played against Lev, it was Valen's attack side calling that really set the entire tone of the game. He was impeccable in terms of avoiding Aspas and shutting down that superstar. Best duelist in Americas. I think strong argument for best player in the world right now as well. But in the game against G2, despite the high numbers, the impact was lessened because Valent always found the gap.
Valent's attack side calling will be on display yet again here, beginning for the pistol round, round 13 of Lotus. Jonah P, potential for the punish. He wasn't careful, he was just sat right into the one-way, but now backing away, and Mr. G2, as per usual, will take this one with a bit of caution in their step. Potentially here in that jump spot as well. Wants into the corner! What is that shot? Very nice, he's just coming straight back at him, man. Aftershock in. Probably seeking to delay and deny at least his plan, as well as that paranoia. Sweeping pass and away. Come to play off of it. And the rest of his team now flooding straight back and through. Still, G2. They have the angles. They bide their time and wait to strike back, and leaving it just now to Mazzino. And a 1v3 here, just for the pistol. Util out into the hand, but straight into two. Waiting with open arms here. G2 happy to oblige.
Good try from Common. I really think that those flood defenses are going to be good if Aspas can get involved. But he was taken out of the round instantly. Icy finding that same level of value as he did in the pistol to begin. And G2 take them both. What is that shot? And look at how nice this is as well. Leap staying inside of the smoke, swinging out in an anti-flash position. Valent also playing the same on the other side to shut down that retake attempt. We're going to be seeing tons of that, I'm sure.
Yeah. Just one example of G2 being so well drilled when it comes to those flood defense protocols.
Danger.
With a lot of bodies, yeah, the danger is mounting here. Despite the fact that Lev are really only working with the pistols. They can't give up that gun, that's got to be reclaimed, and at least it is. So, getting a move on now.
How many people did they actually see from Leviatán? They'll start adding it up as they see the utility and footsteps coming through. Do they know for sure, though, that C is open? Still using Prowlers. They might think this is more of a 1-4 setup. But it was all 5 players from Lev just stacked in the same spot.
Plant up for mountain control, too.
Aggression into spawn here, though, is dangerous.
Absolutely. Up against an eco round.
This,
really trying to take this fight here. You might even just hand over a couple of guns.
Yeah, it feels like a nice way to make a charitable donation with the Bulldog and the Stinger.
Molly and a nade. Loaded nice and early here from G2. Just a little bit to push Leviatán out of the picture, but now they're going to be swarming back in. Not feeling disincentivized here. Icy. He's the one who wants to receive most of this. Still stunned up. That util again. It is potent into the right hands. And G2, they don't know how to use it. Alongside the guns they've got as well. Massive weaponry advantage here. Running back into the fight as well. Might be just donating a few more of these kills. It's an expensive round here. Despite the win, everybody falls.
G2 denied Tex from getting the ace against them. But you're right, that's extremely expensive. Had they just backed up towards the end, they could have still saved 3 pieces of weaponry. Sure, a Bulldog would have gone missing, but... This is going to be a next round where G2 are essentially on a full eco. Can't bonus, can't really full buy into it either. You're not feeling confident about it anyway.
It's a bargain bin buy. Look at that. I mean, you got the Buckies, the Stingers, a bit of a sheriff in the mix. Rifle in the hands of Leaf.
And so that 4K from Tex, extremely important because it should give them this round.
We've seen crazy things with that weapon. Playing Bucky.
Aspas is tapping the door here, very confident in his own abilities, looking to fight over towards Mound, but also clear this front area of B at the same time. G2 found a bit of a gap.
That's a lot to watch for here, but again, Bucky into the face and into the cage! Tex, you did not stand a chance. He's made mincemeat. And now the rest of his team by his side once more. The same Util going to be flooding out back and through here by Leviatán, looking for a way to get back into the fight. Again, but a nade ricochets backing away. Push them back. Gives that space for Trent to at least get the plant down. Extension now. Into the post plant we go. With all that space afforded to him, it doesn't really matter about the weaker weaponries. Now close quarters is where they thrive. G2 with more than a handle onto it. Paranoia just could not quite be dodged. Icy still weaving in and out of that smoke again, and as the double face comes through, decay damage. Enough for the cleanup. Jonah P in action. And G2, monstrous call when they were basically working with almost nothing. It was just a bunch of scraps coming into the round here. But they've walked away with a win when Lev had all the money, all the advantage.
Icy has been such a low-buy warrior for them on Lotus. Pistol round, he's delivered huge impact. And then also, Bucky in hand takes down Tex, who've got the 4K to set up this massive economy advantage for Leviatán. And in terms of the strategy on the B hits, I love the way that Icy nades to counter the breach flash, and then they follow that up with Jonah P's Viper Orb. And so when Aspas eventually tries to retake, here they've taken so much of that decay damage. Lovely. A lot of Vipers in the past, you know, throwing the Viper Orb in multiple spots, picking it up, relocating it. That's not possible anymore. You've got to pick and choose the spot for that very carefully. And here you see Jonah throwing that more standard setup so that he's creating a lack of information for Lev on A.
It's a bit of urgency. It forces Com to take the initiative, maybe use a bit of util, but again, you can feel how difficult it is for him. The rest of G2 as well, going a bit of exploration out towards C-Mount.
The high-low setup might be a little difficult to break here. Nazino, Aspas on top of each other, and Aspas the one you're least likely to have good crosshair placement for. He's got a Vandal in hand.
Ready to do some damage. He's praying that anybody walks right into that cross, the setup, the high-low that you were discussing. Pointing out, might get his wish momentarily here. G2 don't have util, not ready for this one still. They do have the bodies, but after that first kill, not going their way. Leaf dropping, they want nothing to do with this. Doors opened up though, looking for a pivot potential. Options again, not clearing Tex, but luckily saved there by the teammates again. The call is made left. That is explosive. Trying to react into it. A fight taken straight up. Here, Com, head on a swivel, doesn't know which way to look, but he was spotted out by these players. TP's forwards, Valin making risks of his own. And it has to be. It's a 2v4 situation. Tucked to the corner, Jonah P. Waiting out, but just spotted into the corner and cleaned up. Knows where Com is. Valin will drop him. 12 seconds remaining though. He's got to get a move on, and he's going to be chased now hot on the heels. Left. The rest of Leviatán going to be ready to punish this one. It's a tap and avoid. He's hoping for an easy fight as well, but at this point, no more options to him. Leviatán. They wrangle back control of the round here, and again, it's one where they just didn't quite have the weaponry for it.
Good reads on the defense side. G2 head towards C, straight into that high-low setup, and then Tex is further forwards. It's not necessarily the kill that Tex gets, because he does get overwhelmed, but it's that delay. It stops G2 from immediately pivoting into a B hit or through the breakable door to A. Lev keep this one close. They haven't knocked G2's economy just yet, but barely a gap here.
It's 2 for Nail. Blessing in disguise here for G2. Icy has earned his way up to the ultimate at least. No pushback as well out towards A rubble, but there is a very deep push from Leviatán out through C Mount. They've got all control of that, and they know exactly where G2 are going to be playing. Out towards front B or even A. Fog of War getting cleared up ever so slightly for Leviatán to make all sorts of plays, and they are running into these players, but sound being heard, door opened up, Aspas. Maybe not, actually. Maybe just a game of timings that he might have missed, but he's sticking around.
He did this last time, and then he backed up.
The Prowler faces into it as well. Stray bullets, not enough for the kill. He's going to be lucky to be alive.
Jonah P on the other side, though, is super deep over here towards A. This could still end up being a feint.
Not sure what the call is here, still with the Nightfall.
Yeah, nobody caught.
Out and over, Horns as well.
You know that the C site is free there because of the ultimate thrown out from Trent, and especially due to Valin doubling up.
Aftershock, delaying. 35 seconds left, Neon Wall into the site.
And now Jonah P becomes a crazy late lurker, the backstab for the post plant.
He's going to try and catch this timing and catch it well, especially with Leaf falling once more as well. The options are starting to run dry and short. Ults are forced out. Icy is getting into it now as well. He just misses it. Lev goes straight over the top. Now you're seeing it, Haunt as well, follows through and around. G2 going for this, still trying to take this one with the rifles. In play again, down to just Tex. 1v2, drop down to 25 health. He's avoiding it, trying to isolate it, find these fights on an individual basis. Jonah P. He's taken out, but can't claim the second Valen. The IGL. He'll seal that one up. 10-7 now, sitting at that scoreline.
What a round. 3 the difference here as G2 get to double digits. Valen at 21 kills. That showstopper just designed to try to buy time, but Icy went forward, forced out, no kill. Jonah had to do a lot, picking up 2 on his lurk. And that's the advantage of Valen's attacks like calling to insert people into these positions. If the Nightfall catches 2 or 3 on C, he can always go back over to A and fill that space that Jonah P's created very easily.
Yeah.
But if he decides to commit to C, Jonah can be that backup element. The ace up his sleeve. Lev, back foot again. It has taken miraculous rounds, honestly. Think back to how they first got into this game with Aspas spraying down 2 with a hero Phantom kept. And it feels like Lev are keeping into this one, keeping the gap somewhat close by relying on those miraculous plays.
Oh, absolutely. And that first half performance, I think, as well, really necessitates it. But you know, catch your minds back to when G2 and Lev last played. G2 kind of dismissed them almost as well, and it was mainly off the back of these attack side calling and performances. It was the outplaying. It felt like Valen had access to all the information, and you're almost seeing it repeat here and now. Listen, the round's definitely been close. Trailing past few at least still, but this is a G2 dominance on the attack side that we're starting to respect at this point.
Let's make them dance.
Barring any miracles here for Leviatán, though, it will be round 19, the next after this, where huge ults are online, economy's back. But don't count out this international super team. They've been given that label early on in the year for a reason, before we'd even seen them play a game, just based on the talent on the roster. And with Aspas taking contact behind the cam, it's really disguised.
Cam's going to be dropped. Bit of damage as well.
You see that neon stun, though? You know it's Aspas. If there's any hero rifle, it will be on him. I think it's the right call to go in a different direction.
Yeah. Jump spot and a shot fired. King, though, trying to bait him in here with a jiggle peek as well, but he's at least rattled away. Revealed a little bit here, still trying to go for the play once more. It's a paranoia. King not looking to evacuate. Oh my god, he's dropped down to 1 HP. We're seeing it here. Leaf still just maintaining control of that B main angle. Mazzino. Jump spots away. This is getting so damn precarious. A series of fights that are going to be taken out and across in through the map. 2 though, looking to now at least take this one with the body advantage into the guns. And I see left alone now to his own devices. It's a 1v4 to try and tangle with. Can't quite get through it.
Another round where Leviatán pull it out with tiny pieces of weaponry. How do they keep finding value in these moments? 2 rounds only on defense for Lev, and both in remarkable fashion. Mazzino's kill being able to get him that Rolling Thunder online. Economy flips again. Lev with the rifles. Lev with the better weaponry. This has to be the time where they finally capitalize on one of these opportunities afforded to them and get back into the game on even footing, rather than having to rely on winning the Thrifties.
Big miracle moments, as we've been dubbing them. Comma's going to be feeling very alone, though, out towards this A site.
This time, Leviatán making a hard read that it's going to be a finish on B. You see the positioning of King, of Tex on the B site. They're hoping that this is fake A pressure that will lead to a pivot, because that's how G2 would get the best value out of their light weaponry.
Player positioning of Lev as well, indicating that they're expecting that. Aspas still holding it down out towards C-Mount. He's ready to punish here with a fault line and a peek. Con wants to try and take this fight into it. It's a little bit whiffed fee, and maybe might not be paying off for them. It's a rolling thunder that has to be expended at least to try and save the day here, but Mazino, he's not going to get any value from it. Everybody's disengaged.
There's no follow-up possible from that, and now he's tucked himself into essentially a one and done.
Oh no, just not expecting it. The wraparound of G2.
A non and done.
Full side control of a pit into the post. It's looking inevitable for G2 to wrap this one up. Retakes in this fashion. Leviatán again. Sound like a stuck and broken record here, but it would have to be a miracle. Tex to cam up into his face. Icy playing a forward approach position. Open to somebody who just walk straight into it. Still the nanoswarms. First wave of things. There was no tap onto the spike again, but time is going to be running it short and shy away from the mark for them. Leviatán is starting to realize and recognize it, but maybe going for a bit of a pincer play here. It's a Paranoid that sweeps through alongside the door opening up and a wide. Icy looking to relieve that pressure again, but they are cleaning up still these through players into the back. But again, the spike is ticking. It's gone away from them. A lack of control at the time on the clock. It's the only element that was missing really from otherwise a pretty clean game plan, and still it will result in that thrifty win. An 11th round for G2.
We've seen so many of these. It feels like Leviatán are willing to take risks when they're the team on lower weaponry, but then they can't help themselves from taking the same level of risks when they're favored or when it's an even situation. Mazino, I understand why he goes for the ultimate, to relieve the pressure, to buy time for Tex to come in and help him. But to tuck yourself into tree at that point when you have a rifle to work with, rather than taking a step back, that's just a plain old mistake.
This is going to be afforded this operator here. It's a little bit of an engagement as well being occurred. G2, they look to overwhelm it, but that delayed re-hit from Lev, the re-clear again, it did at least overpower them. So G2 now going to be still a player down, not that it stopped them in the past.
4-player stack from Lev on Rubble. They're clearly having a game plan here to drive G2 into sight.
Aspas!
And into the Aspas op.
Exactly, the one to deliver that one. Like a rail gun straight through mid. No one going to be passing straight back, but Leaf maybe creating some openings again. He's skipping and hopping around, maybe not even expecting his second play of Mazino, which is why would you? So Prowl and Util out into the hands, but the movement, just enough. It's elegant in motion. This guy with a rifle aim as well, he was so calm and collected under the pressure of it.
Mazino's been having a fantastic map. Team's still down, but they're going to look to tighten things.
And a shot baited out. Mazino swinging off of it. You are right, Josh. He's having an absolute monstrous game on an individual basis. I mean, dead impressed with this guy's gameplay, I think, all throughout the playoffs.
Mazino and Valen both having enormous impact with their rifling and finding value in scrappy situations. Again, mirrored with the fact that it was a bit of an error from Mazino in the previous round that opened the door. But you take the highs with the lows. G2, once again, are on a thrifty round. This is where I feel like a broken record here, Brett. Lev cannot be taking the same level of risks in these kind of rounds.
And so close again, these teams are just on the precipice, and what kind of advantages might they find? Aspas, at least with the overdrive, it's now in his hands as well. It's going to be shocking G2 to their core. Jonah Bido locking it down, not expecting the aggression to be coming swinging for round two. Leviatán.
We're doing this or what?
They're accruing up these rounds, Josh. They're certainly accruing them.
I like it. They play together, they play aggressive. Overwhelm G2. When Aspas goes deep, there's players behind. And Con finding great value off the back of a horn that wasn't broken. So now that lead narrows to just one. For G2 to close this out, they're going to need some of that big attack side calling and slower rounds too. Anytime it's an early round clash, Lever in the lead.
Usually going to be favored. Smoke and middle again from G2. They can see Mound. Off the orb tap, a potential play ready and waiting as well. They do have.
How do you follow up?
Exactly. I mean, Aspas has got the operator. It's not even like he's got a rifle lockdown.
No raise on the other side. No raise nade for Aspas to deny this. You have to respect it.
Clear open the path into action here. Entertainment onto Aspas. Can't play into it. I see. He was so quick. In through the back lines. Looking to at least alleviate this one. Make it just more winnable for the rest of his team. Trent now finally committing to this plan as well with the door opened wide and around. Tex making a peek. And a thing for it still with a showstopper in through the back. No casualties there, but again, this has fallen to pieces here for Leviatán. All eyes once more onto Aspas and Mazzino. In through the back of the site, afforded a bit of that space once more, but again, the obstacles they have to navigate are numerous indeed. It's a seize. Laid out on top, at least with Icy going to be removed. Now the Nightfall as well, in through behind Mazzino. He just follows the traces, a point-and-click adventure game, but can't manage it. Tuck behind, at least through Mound. Every player, possibility is there. Time is completely against them.
All of that investment, too late for Leviatán. G2 keep it simple, they keep it safe. A lockdown to open.
Match point.
Valen throwing the Omen ult in there as well, because that lockdown has a small gap in the corner, making sure that Aspas couldn't play there. Push Icy deep, he controls the space with the nade, with the ult. And at that point, the round is pretty much sealed up. Lev do their best to try to get into things, but I think it was an overinvestment in the end from the Nightfall, because the time was just not there.
Yeah.
You can tell that this is not just a playoff game, but a game for a trophy, because you're seeing both teams willing to take the risks, but also making those small errors, over-investing into situations, allowing the feel of the big match to carry them away in some of these spots where otherwise perhaps, especially for Lev during the regular season, they might have maintained a bit more composure.
I think that can be the case with best of fives as well. Often the most winning element isn't necessarily sometimes the strats that you bring in or, you know, the form factor. It's about how long you can hold on, that endurance test as well. Making sure you don't crumble under the pressure of potentially seeing that trophy across the stage, looking to the side and understanding that you are literally one match away from lifting it.
A G2, despite winning the round, their economy broken again. So many thrifty rounds for G2 in this half.
Topsy-turvy.
And yet they're one away from winning on Lotus. But if Lotus is this close, and that's the map that Lev have been banning recently, anything's still possible from here.
Could be in for a barn burner here for the finals.
I mean, we could easily be in for overtime as well.
Aspas again. Loves to be posted up here onto this angle again. Will respect the smoke into his face. A little bit too many angles. Boombot, nade. What a shot! Takes the peek straight into a King. Just could not quite get out of there, though. The TP forwards and in. It's a committal by Valen. Dodging and juking, at least from the stun and away. Now the second round of things once more. It's a rolling thunder. Let's try and push them back. Aspas, rifle in hand now, trying to make the play in the moment. And he makes it work! Leviatán, they crushed them!
That's insane to go for Aspas and Mazzino. First of all, what on earth was King up to? And then they decide to commit 2vx into the retake.
Yeah, I mean,
ignoring the fact that common techs are miles away on the other side of the map. Mazzino and Aspas are just like, should we go in and just win this round?
I mean, that is, I think, to a certain degree as well, the difference between maybe just playing to win rather than playing not to lose. In scenarios like that, Leviatán, they've been guilty of freezing up in moments, a lack of hesitation. There was none of that there. They took the fight straight to him. G2 still one round away from closing out Lotus, but now Lev one more to get that extension into OT.
Tex dodges the Nightfall, makes it feel like C is completely open. Can he work a pick here to put his team at an advantage? He's gonna look for it.
His kill trip's a little bit deeper as well, just in case there is that backside control for him, but it's revealed up, at least by the Prowler. Cage forwards. Made again, rebounding. Plan finally, at least gonna go down.
But he's also stopped Icy from taking that area of the map. G2 with Pit.
Oh boy.
It's gonna be a tough retake.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult. They want to try and go for this one rapidly. Full attack, slowing him down. Tech still alive and kicking. Overdrive. Aspas, but lit up like a storm and a hail, and the bullets raining down the Pit. Still, it's gonna be dropping. And a potential opening now for Leviatán, but again, that pressure is there. It's all for the map. Our opener here in this best-of-5 grand final, standard to take some space out and through. Door opens up and wide. Leviatán flooding through, at least with the kills. Trent, he's going to dodge and juke and weave away, but too much to overcome. Leviatán still alive.
All smiles from the Lev players. They know they've just pulled off an incredible retake there. The timing, the patience from King at door. He was waiting there just to pull the trigger and throw the paranoia. And I think this kill that you just watched, Tex onto Icy, I think that made all the difference.
Yep.
If you've got a duelist inside a pit that takes out the first player and maintains that space on the map, you are probably winning the post plan. Tex slams a dagger into G2. Little bit of revenge. And takes his team to overtime. 12-12. What a recovery from Leviatán. Look at all of those rounds. 4 out of the last 5 that were played on this map. Balance calling has not looked like the thing that can make the difference just yet.
When it gets into OT as well, it's anyone's game. The nuances, the differences that have just been piling up, building all sorts of little bits of conditioning, sometimes just go straight out of the window.
Trent's been trying to make his position work inside Tree, but he's more been trying to just lure out the utility. He has been backing off and giving respect every time that door's opened.
Not choosing to fight it. G2 though, anchoring it down here. They're doubled up and holding. There's at least a Hornet sent flying.
Think back to Lev's attack side. It was the A hits that were working. Nothing else really was finding too much value, but the A hits were great.
Exactly, and punishing that flood defense protocols that G2 have waiting, but this time there's an extra element. They all drop down to support and supplement and at least dropping 2 of the bodies. Aspas decayed down, at least to the double digits, and Jonah P just walking around and away. Still climbs the one. Aspas didn't lock his sightlines onto it, but he's no more for the world, and G2 find that edge. 13-12. One more round to do it.
Switching sides.
You were talking about playing to win, Bren. That round epitomizes it for G2. They have the tiniest gap there before Lev set up into their post plants and start pushing them again. And G2 find that little moment of respite and decide to pounce and put the pressure onto Lev. Not going for those set retakes that they were favoring in the first half. Now Lev go for a very similar setup to what we've seen before. 4 players over here on the A side of the map. Jonah P's gonna back this one up. Can Jonah give enough info to Valin so that they can call the hit on C? This one though, actually looking like it might be a fake C, pivot B, based on where Jonah and Leaf are playing.
G2 making sure that they still have those options.
Tripwire destroyed.
Trip spotted out by the Prowler.
Generally speaking, you do not want to be going for the fake C into a B pivot because it pulls the A players over.
Aspas, heavily committed. Side by side, I mean, barely a wall to cover between them. And this could be everything with a minute left. That's a one-way, or at least the smoke propped up. I'm not too sure of the sort, and it does force Aspas out of the picture.
They had a high-low setup there going.
There.
Aspas and King.
Still waiting.
Gets broken.
A lot of awareness.
Yeah, like making it feel like they're going back in to take space on Rubble. But King reads it. The Lev players are going to be set up so quickly to flood defend on C and help Tex.
A lot's going to be asked of him. Tex, that anchoring spot as well. Stalwart defender out through the back of the site. It's a cacophony of util up into his face, and he can't quite do it still. The players are there, the door's open wide, and Aspas and Mazzino will at least seek to deliver a bit of respite. 13 seconds left, the plan needs to start going down, it needs to be committed, and spam down, Mazzino, all turns, out and through, rolling thunder, they want to go now, it's a rapid play and approach, at least with the paranoia again to supplement. Everybody's blinded up, nobody can stand their ground, and Leviatán, once more, stay alive, 13-13.
All about the map control. All about the excellent calling there from King. They had full lock over towards A. Deep info at Rubble.
Switching sides.
And Valin calls for his team to throw the horn, to pop all the Viper util, and make it feel like it could be an A re-clear. That's supposed to keep Leviatán players on A. And King calls his bluff. Jumps over the top of it. There's no one here, guys. Go get ready to defend C or B. Beautiful call. Excellent read. The 2 Omens playing the mind games, and we go again in overtime.
What sort of adjustments are we going to be seeing from either side? We already saw it from G2. Heavy committal at the backside of A. But there's layers to it. Leviatán might not be so obvious. Aspas. Ice cold, knowing that the teammates have got his back in terms of breaking that utility. He glides away, but doesn't quite dodge that one. The Prowler's still connecting. Lights him up as well, cuts away to sound cues. Here's Aspas in for the back of the side again. There's no heaven smoke. Valin is way ahead of the rest of his team and they're trying to supplement and support still. It's a crossfire setup that is not expected. Leviatán. All the space in the ward out through the A site. Leaf, definitely a chance to respond. Maybe he can make it winnable and doable, but just backs away to Haunt. Makes the decision easy for him. Again, a roll in front of Mazzino. I don't know how he's building these up, but this guy is on fire. And from the wraparound, Tex, it's a dagger and a blade straight to the back. Mazzino collapses. Straight onto him now. This time, Leviatán, 1 round ahead, 1 step to close out the map.
If Leviatán end up winning here on Lotus, on the map that they have usually been banning, they have, broadly speaking, 1 guy to thank, and it is Mazzino. Back-to-back rolling thunders.
There's no way.
In overtime. Not just that, 32 kills.
Yeah.
Across the 27 rounds that we've played. He isn't just producing insane fragging output, he's keeping it up over a very long period of time. Way ahead of everybody else, outperforming superstar duelist Aspas on his own team. He's been unleashed. He has absolutely been unleashed by Irupada's coaching. It felt like he was caged, trapped a little bit within the structure of Lev earlier on in the season. Mazzino's a guy that thrives under finding his own timings and relying on, you know, flashing for himself and swinging.
Yeah.
In some of these spots, he's just been monstrous.
Synergy that he's had in the tail moments of many of these rounds. I mean, the lack of hesitancy to go for plays, the rolling thunders committed, the go button being hit.
And broadly speaking, Lev's defense strategies have been working. They've stacked 4 players A, they make sure that G2 cannot take rubble, and then when G2 end B or C, Lev flood defend. It's quite a simple plan. But it's working so well, and G2 cannot come up with the answer for it. You might, at this point, need to genuinely re-clear rubble instead of just faking that you're doing it and ending A.
Very passive hold here initially by G2. Again, Jonah P, question's going to be asked of him. How much of that util did he hear? How much is going to be calling for the rest of his team? Adjustments already being made. Lev, triple stacked up. 3 players now. Make sure they can try and clear the front section of B.
It's looking so similar from G2.
Jonah P and Leaf themselves are also holding this one. This is a cheeky angle. Just misses it. Turret takes contact, still to fight. But they choose to take it, baiting Leaf back in, but it's still being watched for. And again, what timing does he choose to take? Again, yeah, with the util coming through. This time it does need to be alleviated in the pressure. Surely Mazzino again, holding it down, rifle in hand, dropping away. It's precision, it's surgical. And Leviatán ripping away the opening map of our best-of-5 grand finals.
It really does feel different today, Brent, compared to the time that these 2 teams faced last. G2 had double map veto. Chose to take Lev to Lotus. The map that Lev have been banning recently.
Yep.
And still, Leviatán persevere. We were so worried about this Lev team in terms of crumbling in big moments, not turning up in bracket games. You don't get a bigger moment than this in Americas.
Starting from the lowers, you know, every single disadvantage is afforded to you, like a prep time, an opening map that is just your uncomfortable territory. You don't want to be landed on it at all, but Leviatán are up. We're going to be stepping away. GB in the analyst desk, breaking it all down. Don't go anywhere. Line's been drawn. They're picked to pieces.
Cloud9 are so good.
Hey guys, it's Jimmy Lin. In this series, I'm going to walk you through attack on Pearl. Watch out for the stairs, clear this angle. You're going to be able to fight this.